Lisa's on a mission to give your body the rest it needs with 2 awesome mattresses plus accessories and bases for a better place to sleep. They also believe in providing a better night's sleep for everybody, and to date, they've donated more than 32,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. Get 15% off your entire order at lisa.com/bombcast and use the promo code BOMBCAST. That's LEESA.com/bombcast, promo code Bombcast.
Hey, hi, it is Tuesday. It's September the 3rd, 2019. It's the Giant Bombcast. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Ben Pack.
Hey.
Hey, Jan Ochoa.
Hello, that's
Brad,
me.
I'm Brad Shoemaker. I'd like to welcome, Big Giant Bomb, welcome here to our newest hire, Jeff Gerson.
Hi.
Hi.
It's good to
Welcome.
be here. Yeah.
How is it going?
It's going good.
We're looking forward to your
I've got a lot of great
exciting ideas you're bringing to your
I've got big ideas.
new role
around
here.
All right, what if you played Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, that's my first big idea. Is I'm going to play Kingdom Hearts all the way through.
Wow, finally.
Somebody is going to take on this momentous task.
Yeah.
It's not simple and clean, though.
No, it's definitely neither of those things.
I am in way over my head. I've decided to stop playing Kingdom Hearts all the way through.
Okay.
So it's probably just a scheduling issue that eventually snowballed into bigger issues.
Yeah, it's probably the problem with having a bunch of guests on and then having the guests not show up over and over again and never getting to the actual premise of the series.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to maybe discussing some other directions that your role might take here. As you,
I can change a diaper. I can.
Oh wow!
I can,
okay, well now we definitely have
can you change it
now we
into?
definitely have a skill set we can make use of here.
I can change it into a garbage pail.
Hello, guest Matt Pasquale.
Hey, I didn't want to speak because last
sorry.
time on the Beastcast, I spoke before introed and someone yelled at me in the comments.
Oh, in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I was like,
It was
well, to
Abby
be fair, it's
in the
like,
comments.
yeah, probably, almost certainly.
you broke protocol.
But it's like, it's like being a vampire, right? You have to be invited
You have to be invited
into
onto the
podcast.
podcast.
Podcasts are for vampires. That's well established.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
Yeah.
Have we thought of changing the name of the show to An Interview with a Vampire?
No,
I feel like
I've
that's got good SEO behind it.
No, that sounds good.
Oh no! Speaking of vampires,
SEO, let's get the lights up in
Turn
this
the lights up.
motherfucker. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
gonna
vampire.
burst into flames
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, wow. I didn't know you had that in you.
Just become a pile of ash. I've been working on it.
Just at home, chilling in your
It just-
sarcophagus.
yes, it tends to happen when you never leave the house. It tends to just.
So what if we played Dota every day?
Nope. Thanks for being here. Have a nice trip back.
What do you mean, what if?
Yeah, there we go. I like that.
It's not-
Enthusiasm.
Not what I expected or
I
wanted
didn't
to talk about.
I did not get a chance to pick all my Dota
I know.
heroes
The
or
TI's
legends
over. You
or
can't-
whatever. Yeah, I can't. Open,
Afu isn't
I
going to
haven't
be in
even
your
opened
lineup
my
anymore.
packs or whatever. Can I?
I was waiting for that. That's what I was going to base my predictions off.
Yeah,
Every year I go
I
off
know.
it. and it
We were
always
hoping
works so
to
well.
try to somehow put together our industry-leading annual analysis of the international
Yeah.
talent pool, but
Yeah.
it just didn't come to pass.
Scheduling conflicts,
Unfortunately.
all sorts of stuff.
Your sleep pattern probably matched up with watching TI, though, more than anyone else here.
So that was the weird thing is I would be awake at 3 in the fucking morning and I would see people on Twitter talking about watching Dota and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't realize that it was somewhere weird. China? Was it China?
Yeah.
Shanghai?
Okay. Yeah, somewhere weird.
Shanghai.
Okay, great. Yeah, I did not.
Shanghai. Fun fact: Shanghai is where we tried to go for StarCraft stuff a number of years ago until we finally gave up after enough dealing with the Chinese government
Go.
yeah.
It's hard to get a Chinese visa.
refusing to give us a visa. Eventually,
Oh, I'm sure
we
it's
were
only
like, I don't
gotten
think this is
easier.
going to happen.
Yeah.
In the last few years.
Was this also when you were with, quote, Giant Bomb?
Maybe.
Okay, sure that helped.
I think we could have said whiskey meat or the
Probably.
digital commons.
I think yeah, sure, okay.
There we go.
That sounds nice and
that would have
that sounds like a
extremely
Internet?
neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like an internet company. Why not?
I got the sense that it was telling them we wanted to bring a bunch of cameras into the country that maybe threw a wrench into the works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble flying this past weekend to PAX.
Really?
Yes. it's probably a bad idea to stuff 2 burritos into your backpack with a bunch of wires and then a bunch of stickers with little bomb faces on them.
Okay.
And then and then on top of my existing experiences having trouble through the TSA body check, something getting flagged all the time. They were like,
Didn't you say gunpowder residue?
oh yeah, it's all over my clothes.
Yeah.
It's all over my clothes. Still. I think it's my wallet. I think I've tracked it down that my wallet is a problem, so I should probably get a new wallet.
Never get that residue off.
No.
Maybe you should just set the wallet on fire.
I'm afraid what would happen.
Burn all the
Yeah.
gunpowder off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Seems
they had
safe.
to. They
That's
opened
what's
one of my
coming soon.
burritos.
I was going to say, how do you think the burritos figured into all of this?
Well, because they saw that the burritos were stacked on a bunch of wires in my backpack shoved in there,
Okay.
and they pulled one of them out, and like the TSA person was like just squeezing it and like smelling it, and then swabbed it with whatever they had to swab it, and was like, checks out, just a burrito. You're good, man.
Did he swab the? I mean, like,
He
did he
swabbed
touch the burrito or the foil wrapper?
The
or-
foil wrapper.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then like he squeezed like all parts of it to make sure there's nothing hiding it there.
Yeah.
Just a carne asada burrito.
Can I ask, were you planning to consume both burritos on the plane?
Uh,
I'm not condemning or anything. That's just I'm
I would.
impressed. I'm impressed.
As someone who goes on planes a lot,
I could.
if someone broke out 2 burritos, I would not be okay with that.
That's just a lot of burritos.
I was thinking like, I got to be really busy during PAX
okay.
weekend.
Okay.
I probably won't be able to like stop somewhere and grab food.
Okay.
So if I just
you're just planning
consume
ahead.
these 2 for the
Yeah.
whole weekend, should be good.
Carbo load. You need it before a panel. It's like before a
Exactly.
marathon.
You set a base before you go on like a proper drinking bender.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
packs.
Yeah. This will fuel me for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I went to this thing going PAX or Parenthood. PAX or Parenthood. Looks like we're doing PAX. So.
One and the same, really.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Well, now you can do one
responsibilities
of
are
those panels about being a
very
gamer
similar.
parent.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's all the Giant Bomb's panel next year, I assume.
We had a lengthy discussion about.
Yeah. That's because like we just came off of what was the most, and by most I mean only planned giant bomb panel that's ever happened.
I
at
said
PAX.
this to Jan. I was like, I think because you guys sent me a runner show beforehand, and I was like,
show.
there was literally a runner show where segments were timed out. I was like,
That's awesome.
you guys are taking this in a brave new direction.
Abby and I, we were at first concerned that, shout out to Abby because she wrote all the songs and super freaking organized.
You guys composed
with everything.
music?
Yeah, she wrote the music. It was great.
She writes the songs.
She writes the songs.
That's yeah.
Yeah, she's the ghostwriter. You know, I just take credit for it. But we were initially worried of like, okay, what if no one shows up besides our friends? And then a bunch of people showed up, and then we were worried after it seemingly went well. What if we have to keep making musical numbers for every PAX moving forward?
See, again, that's you've gone and established like a high bar, and that's a mistake for a PAX panel.
You're right.
You want that low attainable, like just come hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was like a booth at PAX that had coffins, and I inquired like,
Hold on.
Yeah, they had coffins.
Yeah. Okay.
You had to play a Switch game in a coffin. And I inquired with like one of the people working the booth of like, how much was it to rent a coffin?
These are full-on functional.
Full-on functional coffins.
Okay.
I had
you
that
could-
Just
same
wanted to
question.
confirm.
I was like, are these real coffins?
Also,
How much do coffins
did you
cost?
do it?
Who the fuck rents a coffin?
That's what I. It's like, did you go to the local Costco?
Vampires.
I'm gonna lease it. You know, we'll see. After 3 years, they came. I got the coffin back.
Poor
Good luck.
quality. This wood is chipping already.
The poor attendant didn't have any numbers for me and didn't give me a number to reference.
I think there's
So-
like a market for a lucrative kind of refurbished coffin business,
Probably.
Oh, God.
reconditioned.
For sale.
Previous occupant.
Yeah.
No longer.
I'm like right there with you. Like never fired, never buried, dropped once. I don't know.
Paul Baird.
Like new condition.
Yeah.
Like new.
Yeah. How was PAX overall? Sounds like the panel went well.
I hope it did. I
Yeah.
think it did.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think you guys did a great job.
Thanks, Matt. Also, thank you, Matt, for presenting Abby and I with the Tonys.
Yeah.
I'm glad
I mean,
that we won
I just
those.
happened to be in a Twitch chat, and I didn't know that's how they announced Tony Awards, but apparently so with emotes.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Andrew
turns
Lloyd
out.
Webber, my buddy,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
he DM'd me.
Makes
So
sense.
he's so
Yeah.
busy with cats.
Yeah, well, he made time. As would anybody, you know, it was such a great production.
Yeah. He just has PAX 3 on the background while he's working,
Yeah.
composing.
Year round, which is weird because it's not like there's stuff on there.
I thought it only went to PAX 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They added that new theater. You guys were in the
It was a
Third
huge
Hyatt.
theater. It was like Raven Theater, which we were at, it looked like the full amount of seats was like 1,000 or something. And when Abby and I went in there, we were immediately concerned of like, we may not even fill up 3 rows. Yeah, thanks to like everyone that came out, thanks to the guests. The AV team was like super duper helpful.
Awesome.
And I think they were like super jazzed that like it wasn't just folks just talking on stage and stuff. Because I think
they get to do something instead of just like sit there and not monitor the audio.
Yeah, the guy that was
and ensure that no one can hear anything, questions from the crowd ever.
What?
And like the guy, like with the camera guy that was on like the platform was like, I get to zoom in and out and do stuff. Yeah. But all the panelists we had on were great. Will, Dan, we had a magician show up, and that act was something else.
It's gross. I don't trust magicians.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. Grace Bruxner from Frog Detective, great. Pat Bear, shout out to him. And yeah, it was great. Good time all around the panel. Actual convention was neat.
Yep.
Is there somewhere to watch the archive of the panel other than just Twitch?
We have the archive. We're cutting that away. Should go up either end of day today or first thing tomorrow.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Great. See the musical stylings of Abby and I.
Awesome.
Otherwise,
Did you do the splits?
I didn't do the splits.
Okay.
If someone brought a skateboard, I would have done a kickflip. But
I'll remember that for next time.
oh god,
Yeah.
Eric Costa in the audience. Do a
Honor bound
kickflip.
to perform a kickflip if
Yeah.
a skateboard is presented.
I'll try and do a dark slide. We'll see.
Oh,
If
okay.
we get
Whoa,
it right.
okay.
All right,
Let's-
we'll be
let's
mulling
start
over
with the
that.
kickflip.
remember, you can't keep upping the ante.
What if we just keep upping the ante
Oh boy.
until we get to a point where this is the last PAX panel we can possibly do?
Because PAX will be canceled forever after the panel.
That's we were not too far off. I feel like there was a time there when it was like not too far off from that with like, oh, here's a hot dog cart and like everyone just like showing up with stuff to the panel. Like that was the thing. It was like for a while people would bring bits to the panel and wouldn't tell us. So it would just be like,
Hey, we need 20 minutes in the middle
exactly.
of
It
your
would just
panel.
be like Drake or Max or somebody being like, okay, we'll get into it. You say this, and then we'll know to get into it. We'll interrupt you and throw you off stage. I'm like, great, whatever, great. That's good. It's cool because I got nothing. Yeah.
I will say we had a costume contest during the panel, and there was a someone's child that showed up in a flannel and a beanie and glasses. And then I was looking at them and like the lineup, trying to figure out who everyone was. And then I was focused on this little girl wearing glasses, a beanie, and a flannel. And then when I got to her and asked her what she was like, she just looks at me and just goes, "I'm Jan." And then I thought, oh my God, what if this is my child?
Yeah.
I mean, hell of a way to do it.
Scary shit, man.
I found you.
Yeah.
It was great.
Cool.
I checked out a specific game. At
Yeah.
PAX.
Yeah.
It was the very first thing after I got off the plane.
Yeah,
actually.
I was when that invite came in and I asked when you were flying in, it was like, oh my God, he's got like barely gonna like kind of coming and going. You're just barely gonna go.
panting and sweating, showing up.
Like
at the-
their last appointment is like a handful of hours after
Burrito
you,
sweats.
Burrito
after you
sweats.
hit the ground up there, but somebody's got to go see this thing.
I checked out the Avengers game.
That's
everybody.
right. You played the Avengers.
I played
game.
the Avengers.
You were the Avenger.
I was the Avengers. I avenged people, and I'm hesitant to say it was not that bad. And
Okay.
I enjoyed what I played. So they deemed it, the demo that I played is supposed to be the tutorial for the very beginning of the game. So it runs you through all the playable characters that you'll play through, and it was about 5 of them. Start out as Thor, transition to Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, and then Captain America.
Was it the same demo? Were they like on a bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
So,
so it was
this
like
is
the
what
stuff you
Jason and I
saw,
saw.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that leaked out at E3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat. All 5 of the different characters played pretty distinctly different. A lot of set pieces, which makes me wonder if when we get into like the actual story missions, if a lot of it will be super linear and everything. So Thor kind of played like a Kratos type of deal. You could throw the hammer around, recall it back. It's
Can
a
you do the thing
brawler.
where he like whips it around really fast and hits guys with it.
I think that'll be a power that you could eventually
Okay.
unlock.
To me, that's like the classic quintessential Thor move.
That is the quintessential Thor move. And then Iron Man just shoots lasers. You could charge up your unibeam and shoot it out of your chest. Hulk has a thunderclap. And with Hulk, he has this weird ability where you have to look for scratched up surfaces and you latch onto those, then jump off, and then do a ground pound. Black Widow just has a straight up gun.
Nice.
What's your power? Gun.
Gun.
Hey, pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
all. And also, that's like that. There's like 80 superheroes that are just the gun
Yeah.
superhero.
And
but
then
they shoot them in a fancy way.
Yeah, Cable's got like that cool beam gun.
Or maybe the gun is magic.
Yeah.
yeah, or a mutant
Gun.
Mutant gun.
Yeah.
and Captain America, standard brawler. He could throw the shield, and yeah, it wasn't that bad. It looked great. They were showing it off on a PS4. They got a little bit into how the game will be structured, and it sounds like the only time you'll be able to go into instances of multiplayer are in specific different missions where so there's two types of missions.
Yeah, so there'll be like your story missions, and then like here's a mission you can play multiplayer if you so choose.
And from what it sounded like, what they were talking about is that you could just do a couple of the story missions to get stuff going, but then you could start unlocking gear and unlocking more multiplayer missions if you are only playing the multiplayer missions. It just won't advance whatever narrative they have going on.
Yeah, I know there's been a bunch of talk that it's kind of structured like a Destiny type or like a live service game. Yeah, I wonder if it's just like, hey, they've got, here's a bucket of one type of thing to do. Here's another bucket. There's like 5 of these different categories.
Or like, here's your campaign,
Right.
and you'll play through
Right.
that, and by the end of that, you'll have X amount of gear and, you know, this number of hours,
Right.
and it'll tell the story.
But just like, you know, like in a Destiny, some people just play a lot of Gambit,
and
or
then
some people
here's
just
the-
play the multiplayer.
Kill 20 rats, but they're mutants.
Mutant rats.
Yeah.
Yep.
New mutant rats.
Sure.
I mean, it's based in San Francisco, right? So
Yeah.
Is that a
Oh,
comic-
yeah.
Is that a comic book
there you
thing?
go.
I don't know. Don't look at me.
Mutant Rat's totally a thing.
So is it like it's just pretty standard third-person action game? Because that's what the footage has led me to believe.
Yeah,
Like nothing mind-blowingly unique about the gameplay.
Played super similar to like the Batman Arkham games,
Okay.
where you know you got a light, you got a heavy, you have a dodge mechanic. You will be able to unlock through skill trees, which it sounds like you can hot swap between your skill trees of how you upgrade your specific hero. And with those powers, it'll be like a really super powered range attack, or you'll unlock a passive where you'll be shooting thunder for a couple seconds. Yeah.
I think that the thing that stood out to me watching it at E3 was it looked like the hits kind of didn't have a lot of oomph or impact. Like,
Sure.
It's a weird thing to put your words on, but like these are superheroes, right? They're dudes like, and especially the Marvel movies are so good at like making the thuds really like when when the Hulk throws a car at a dude, it like you feel it in the theater. And you were saying it maybe plays a little bit better than it leads on.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it did, because when I was playing as Thor, the sound effects and everything were like the thunk of hitting someone with the hammer sounded really and felt good. With some of the other heroes like Iron Man and Black Widow, unfortunately Captain America, the hits didn't feel like they were really like, I don't know, connecting.
Yeah.
And Hulk, you could grab a dude, which is great, and like smash him on the ground and throw him around. But I didn't completely feel the weight behind everything. I don't know if that's because all these are the bases of the superheroes before you start unlocking more moves and everything. So it sounds like from the very beginning at launch, they'll only have the 5, and there will be a poop ton of costumes you can unlock, and a poop ton of loot also. Of where
Go on.
and the screen they showed looked like it was straight out of Destiny, because they were comparing greens, purples, of like, all right,
Okay, all right. So so they're doing that.
Do their physical appearances change? Are there
Yeah, like did they say what the loot
cosmetics?
is? I mean, is it different shields
So
for Captain America? Is it just kind of the stuff you would expect?
how they showed it off on Iron Man, and it showed like these are different components of parts inside the suit. And
Okay.
they were saying that the cosmetics are straight up cosmetics, shouldn't have any effect on your stats or anything. But the loot side of it, it's like, oh, this will affect your projectile speed or your strength and etc.
I think that's how they've been doing it for a while now, like because the costumes have to be so on brand.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, is that how
the
Marvel
loot
Heroes?
can't be? Yeah. Marvel Heroes was the same way. Of just you had a costume slot basically, so you'd buy a costume or,
Sure,
or
like
it would drop
retro
or whatever.
costumes.
Like
They're
they're not going to let
slot,
you mix and
exactly.
match a bunch of stuff and make
Nope.
some awful looking mishmash.
I wish they would.
I wish they would.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
That's what video games are for.
I want them. Yeah, exactly.
Brands getting a little too precious about the sanctity of their product is maybe a little bit
What's weird, you know?
irksome.
Well, they want it both ways.
It's like
because
the
they-
classic like car makers not letting you bang up their cars
Right.
in a racing game.
But it's like they want it both ways because they want all these fucking amazing crossovers. Here's Thanos in Fortnite and all this
Right.
other fucking horse shit. But all of it has to be so fucking on brand
Yeah.
and so sanitized.
Like
that
rigidly
it's like,
defined
yeah,
by what their kind of brand Bible says.
like it's just not as interesting as it could be.
Yeah.
I'm having flashbacks to working on Disney Infinity. Going through like Marvel and Lucas approvals is still one of the most terrifying processes I've ever had to deal with.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
Which you can imagine for bands like that, like what it would be like. And
Sure.
whatever you're thinking,
No,
you're probably right.
Hearing all the stories about having to literally go to stakeholders at Disney and say, here's what we want to do with your movie characters and how those meetings went and the flop sweats involved.
Or like Disney telling Capcom, you can only have Marvel characters, or you can only have Capcom characters getting beat up in the trailer for the new Marvel vs.
Well,
Capcom.
that's just old wrestling. Like they used to, there was a brief period of time where if you were taking footage of wrestling games, you couldn't show Triple H getting beat up.
Okay.
But that was overblown. That was it was never. You would have to send it for approval. I don't know that they necessarily ever sent us a sheet saying don't show Triple H getting beat up.
What era is this? Where
this is like Attitude Era. This is like late 90s.
back then, I wouldn't have thought Triple H would have been like.
No, I think by the time he ascended to real power, he didn't give a fuck anymore.
Okay.
It was before the hair got good. Basically.
Yes, before video game hair got good, and you could look at Triple H's hair every year and go like, this still sucks.
Get an RTX card. That hair is going to look great.
Oh man, that's
the killer app we're finally been waiting for.
Yeah,
I got that hair tracing tech.
Yeah, all the Turing cores. Each core dedicated to one strand of Triple H's hair.
Finally.
Well, I mean, that was a big deal, right? Was it Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
I think it was the second one had all the crazy hair.
It looked good.
It did look good.
It looked good, and then it looked like video game physics because it would do the thing where I don't know if Tomb Raider did this. I want to say it did, but it was like that thing of like you know how sometimes a character will pop into a world and then all the physics on their cloth or clothing and hair will just wig out for a sec.
It looked like someone picked it up and dropped it again.
Exactly,
or something.
because that's literally what they did is like spawned it a few inches above the world and dropped it in, so they didn't spawn it in the world.
But then that's the times you actually get to appreciate it. Like, it does move.
Oh wow, all that stuff moved. Yeah, exactly. Video games are the worst.
It's like a shampoo commercial where their hair is always moving somehow, even though the person is staying still.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's a video game.
Yeah.
We can report.
Played okay.
Is that out this year?
May 20.
Okay.
I want to say. Yeah.
It's in that weird limbo right before new consoles come out.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to do with this years-long live service game that shipped on platforms that are not super relevant all of a sudden?
Well, those discs will work on.
Yeah, probably.
I am bummed out that it doesn't seem like you will be in the multiplayer sections where you can't just load up with a squad full of Hulks. It has to be a different.
No same Hulk versus same Hulk.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually because like think about it.
Because like I mean, we look at all the costumes, right? Like you could totally differentiate your type of Hulk.
If you and a friend are both primarily playing and you've primarily spent time with one character and then you want to play together and then you can't.
Yeah.
Or one of you has to go like, oh, well, I guess I have to go back to my like lootless Hulk.
That was like
because you wanna
Vermintide
play-
had the same issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it sounds like there might be they're like just log jams around certain characters needing environmental stuff to do their thing, like you said. Iron Man, if Iron Man needs to jump onto a hotspot to do an ability like two Iron Men, suddenly there's a line of Iron Men waiting to jump onto the hotspot.
Right. Yeah, because it seems like
that sounds great. I don't know.
I was gonna say like 1,000 Iron Man just waiting to kill Hogger.
Yeah.
And has to respawn, and then the next Iron Man steps up. And
That
does
reference
it,
has never been more relevant in the past 15 years.
But it's a game.
Interesting to see that Hogger became the reference point and not Princess.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it could have gone either way.
I mean, I played Horde. I don't know what either of you are talking about.
Yeah.
I think Hogger is just fun to say. I don't know anything about Warcraft, but I'll talk about Hogger all day.
Princess is just a giant pig. Okay. Hogger is a somewhat sentient animal dog man.
A gnoll.
What was he? Is he a gnoll?
Yeah.
Hogger is a gnoll.
That's a dog man.
Yeah. But he walks upright and wears clothes, I think.
In current, he's in the Stockades. He's an actual boss.
What?
Yeah.
Hogger became a boss?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's got henchmen now.
Anything that becomes like any meme or anything that they can grab onto has to then become a much bigger deal in the game eventually, right?
Yeah. Like the Leroy Jenkins card in Hearthstone.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, that was like one of the big launch legendary cards.
Of course.
We played a fair amount of WoW Classic on the long UPF last Friday.
Yeah.
And every time last week, including on that stream that I talked to Rory about that game, immediately he just said, "Yeah, it's fucking boring." Like he does not like it.
What, Classic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't sound like he's loving modern WoW as much these days either.
Definitely not. Despite that thing apparently being the biggest thing ever on Twitch.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to
not-
hold
he's
out for Final Fantasy 14 Classic because everyone loves
Not
that
11
initial-
Classic?
No, no, not. Yeah, I'll get my PS2 out to play it.
I mean, that would actually be kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Can you do that? Are there like private servers of the original Realm Reborn?
I don't know.
Well, Realm Reborn was the
Well,
relaunch.
yeah, it was the
Yeah,
relaunch.
you're right.
I'm
Sorry,
saying,
yeah,
like,
the original Final Fantasy 14.
plain old 14 is the
Probably not.
was the
I
disastrous.
love stuff like that. I have like
yeah.
an old WoW alpha client that I've just kept for years and years and years because I'd boot it up and run a local server and just wander around like when Orgrimmar looked like crazy. Stormwind, you guys.
Yeah.
Or like it is fascinating to walk around that stuff in pre-development. And there's like a subreddit as well called like Hidden WoW where people glitch through the walls and find undeveloped areas.
Right.
I find that stuff fascinating. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I remember because we played through like 2 cycles of like I guess friends and family beta.
Yeah. We talked
before
about that a
WoW
bunch
came out
on Friday.
and there was stuff in that game that looked, and I can't remember what it was, but there was stuff in that game that was like cities that were dramatically different. That suddenly, when the game launched, it's like, oh, they've fucking completely redone.
The big thing that stands out to me is the idea of soulbound items was introduced late in the beta.
Right.
So early on, like people we knew who had been playing way longer than us in the alpha could just roll up and give us their old quest rewards, which are like the best items in the game, and there was
Do a raid and like
nothing stopping
Right.
you from just handing your old stuff over to somebody else and letting them
that
use it.
concept is now like enshrined
Right.
in almost every loot
Right.
game
Yeah.
essentially now as well.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. I mean,
Yeah, otherwise you do exactly that.
Yeah,
right?
like,
So I
right,
go
yeah.
run molten
It
core.
completely
I'm sure
broke-
that they sat and watched that.
Yeah.
One. Oh well, this will not do.
I specifically remember getting something from James Yu, who had been in the alpha. He gave me some sword or dagger or something, and it basically made me skip like 5 levels of content because my stats went up so much.
At the same time, that's so satisfying.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was one of the best moments I ever had with
It's
that
like
game.
you read hover the tooltip, and it's like your damage is going to go up like 12,000%. Yeah,
Pretty good. Anything else stand out at PAX?
The game that we played during UPF, I forgot what it is now called. So the perspective
Superliminal?
Superliminal. That's what it was.
Yeah,
yes.
it did not have like a final or even like a working title, I think, when we...
Yeah.
The
game-
executable was just called like Ben. Click on this.
I renamed it to that so you would... Yeah, I had Ben play it on the show because it's the kind of thing once you've done it, you can't really do it again because you know all the tricks, but it's very much based on perspective tricks and stuff.
There's a card game that I have been playing for the past couple PAXs because I keep passing by the booth called Doom Trooper, and it's about to be released. I think it's based off of a Swiss card game. It's very, very lore heavy. It's great to see how much it's progressed. What else did I check out? Creature in the Well was there. It looked super cool.
Yeah, that's out this
It's
week.
out this week, yeah.
Yeah, I need to finish that.
Nothing else is immediately popping out from PAX. Oh, the Playdate was available to check out.
Oh, yeah.
Did you touch it?
I didn't get to touch it because the line was a little
You didn't
too
get
long.
to crank it?
I didn't get to crank it, but they had a giant Playdate, which Abby and I messed around with.
Okay.
It's not functional.
Not
Crank
crankable.
didn't turn?
Not crankable.
Uncrankable.
Boo.
Yeah.
Those things were smaller than I expected them to be.
Yeah.
Like, they were.
The
What are
screen
we
were
talking?
too.
Like palm of your hand.
Like,
oh, okay, it's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
It's like compared to a
It's like an older iPhone.
compared to like
Yeah,
a credit
maybe.
card, bigger than credit card.
Yeah, maybe like 2 credit cards stacked on top of each other. Maybe like that. Does that sound roughly right?
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say it's like if you cut off a third of a Game Boy.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
an original
Like a Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color.
I know that's what you mean when you say Game Boy.
Thank you.
See, I was thinking Game Boy.
Right.
I'm over here going like, all right, Game Boy is kind of thick. All right.
Something else soon?
The
I think-
Playdate?
is it early? I thought it was early next year.
Maybe
but I
so.
don't actually remember.
Trying to find a release date.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that in action. It's such a cool,
I'm excited
weird
to
thing.
crank it.
I've been waiting my whole life to crank it.
Yeah, next year.
Next year, the wait is over.
2020.
That's right.
Crank it.
Crank it in 2020. All right, PAX.
We're gonna get Soldier Boy to.
I actually managed to play. Usually when I go
No,
to
don't put
PAX,
him near a console.
I don't play games because I just go to PAX to hang out and then just wander around the booth and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Hey, and go to a few panels. But I knew I was coming on this podcast, so I was like, "I'm going to try and play games." So I played the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh.
Has that been playable before?
Yeah, I played it at E3.
Yeah.
Was
So
it
I have no reverence for Final Fantasy VII. Like
Okay.
I put an hour into it one time. I was like, nah. So I was really curious because I think like the combat system looks pretty interesting and probably is one of the things that actually makes me interested in it. And the demo was essentially that. It was I haven't played it, so I'm not sure, but it's like it was a Mako reactor.
Yeah, it's the same demo I
with
played
Barrett,
at E3.
and you fight the
That's-
scorpion
yeah.
thing.
That's the very opening.
Sorry, Scorpion King.
Sorry,
You
fight the Scorpion
you fight the
King.
Rock.
That's basically the
Matthias.
first
Right.
20,
It's
30
essentially a
minutes of the game.
combat demo. Like
Yeah.
you don't really get much more of it. But I actually really like that system.
Yeah,
you know,
it's fun.
you kind of auto attack, you light attack until you build up a gauge, and then you can use like Thunder or Omni Slash or one of the big
It blends kind of standard third person running around doing stuff with issuing commands and
really
having them play
seamlessly
out
as well.
It-
And
that stuff
switching characters
blends-
is pretty
blends well. Yeah.
smooth. I was actually pretty impressed with it.
How does it handle when you're issuing commands? It doesn't pause completely, right? Doesn't it like kind of
It kind of slows to a crawl, but
massively
it
slows
may
down
as
time,
well be paused. Like
but you
nothing really happens.
kind of still see projectiles moving, but
Yeah,
That's what 15 did, didn't it?
I
Couldn't
think,
you
I
kinda
think
slow
that's
things down
I think
for-
that's how
yeah.
that worked.
but it was pretty good about like having multiple characters. You can either switch them and make them commands, or you can just hit like R2 and you give a command to Barrett from Cloud, for example. But as someone who had like no interest in Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy in general, really, I was like, yeah, this seems pretty good. Like,
It plays well.
it plays well. Yeah,
It's pretty fun. Okay.
And I played one more game.
Ah.
A game called Unreeled, which is, how do I pitch it? It's kind of like, what if Overcooked, but instead of cooking a meal together with your buddies, you're building a train track before the train crashes and explodes,
Okay.
and it's voxels.
Whoa.
So everybody kind of has a task, and you run around like, I'm going to chop down trees to get wood. I put the wood in the train, chop down mine, put the ore in the train, and it builds tracks. And you're constantly trying to get ahead of it, otherwise it's going to explode. And sometimes it catches on fire. Really hectic. Definitely has that kind of what was the cooking game I just mentioned? Overcooked. That's the one. I haven't played it. It definitely has that Overcooked vibe, but it was a fun party game, and I think I would prefer to Overcooked.
So do you determine the direction of the tracks?
It has a start point and an end point.
Okay.
So you
and
know
it's up
kind of where you need to go.
Make sure, and it
Yeah.
snakes and gets weird.
And we ran into an issue the first time where I cut down a few trees, but we placed the track in the wrong way, and once the train got to that point, it just cut us off from the other side of it.
Mhm.
So we just sit there and watch until it eventually exploded. But it was a good time, especially on the PAX floor as well. If you got friends, it was fun.
When's that coming out?
I think it's on Steam, and I think it's early access. I think it's coming out soon. I think
Okay.
I think the Steam page said summer, which I think is now
That's
ish.
Is it still? Yeah, for like
Yeah.
another 2 weeks or 2-3
Yes.
weeks.
So
Let's say
they've
the
got time.
dog days of summer.
Yeah.
Is that what they?
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
the thing,
Yeah.
right?
Hot girl summer? What?
Yeah.
I only found out what that was like a week ago. I'm not.
Well, now it's
D40.
over, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's kind of.
I missed out. No, okay.
All right. Sounds like PAX was a PAX.
Yeah, definitely.
Facts.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fun.
Jeff, I understand you've been slowly re-entering the world of video games.
Yeah.
What's up with ray tracing?
I bought a video. I bought the video card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't, because
Uh,
I will do this as well.
I mean, you sold me that fucking G-Sync monitor,
Yeah.
so it's only fair that I.
This is your fault. You're an enabler.
I feel,
I
feel like the
resisted.
monitor is more practical and has.
You should play Control.
I played 2 hours of it and then I had to leave to come here.
You should buy the video card before.
Oh,
you play
don't
any
say
more
that, because I will.
Is it worth it?
I
sounds-
feel
sounds pretty
completely-
good.
I feel pretty justified in
Fuck.
terms of like hey, ray tracing seems like this really fraught thing that is like the when you see the before and after shots, you're like, what the fuck does this even mean?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the demo.
Right, depends on the demo.
Like the
for
Minecraft
sure.
stuff was really striking, but
Yes,
then some of
but
like,
that's not
some-
out yet.
Yeah, but like
and-
some of the Metro stuff, like unless you really know what you're looking
exactly.
at.
So
is-
I played 45 minutes of Metro and was
Yeah.
just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Guys, that's right here.
Guys. No, I don't know. Go for it. I don't work in that
yeah,
company
you're
anymore.
not there anymore. So
So
yeah.
hold on. Did you buy the 2080 Ti?
yes, I did.
So you just went for it.
Oh, at that point, like it was
It's
my
called future proofing, Matt.
it was my birthday.
Okay.
I wanted something for myself.
Yeah.
And I was interested in all the nice video encoding I'd be able to do.
Yeah. Does that make streaming from a single PC easier as well if you do like
super
HVAC5 or something like that? Yeah.
all the NV encoder stuff.
I'm
is,
totally gonna do this.
Is really is super nice. Compared to the previous generations
Right.
of cards. So I was going in thinking like, well, I'll be able to use it for that, and if these games look good eventually, maybe that'll be nice too. But then I happened to buy it, a couple weeks or not too long. I should also mention I have no fucking concept of time. I've been gone for 6 fucking weeks. It feels like I've either been gone, depending on the conversation I'm in, it feels like I've been gone about 2 days or about 2 years. I just don't even know anymore. Everything's a fucking blur. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Okay. Fair.
So at some point, I bought that graphics card not long after my birthday, and then at some point, Control came out after that. I couldn't tell you the timeline. And so I know Wolfenstein has some RTX stuff in it.
Does it?
Yeah,
Huh.
apparently. But I didn't like it. It sounded like that was a kind of a rough launch, and I still want to get back to that game because I did like it at E3.
Have you not played it at all?
No, it sounds
I
like
don't like that game at all.
it sounds like people are fucking not happy with it.
So they just put out a big patch that kind of fixes most of what people hate about it.
I kept looking at like Steam updates, and it was like them putting out a patch and then saying our next patch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
You may well. I'll put it this way: the last patch added checkpoints.
Dope.
Yeah, because previously the game did not have checkpoints.
That's awesome.
I
know that at some point they added the ability to pause when you're not playing.
So when
online.
I played through that game, you could not pause it even in single player. Even to like upgrade skills and stuff. And the missions, which could be like 30 minutes long, had no checkpoints.
Dope.
Every boss in that game has a little, like, it's kind of a trivial post-boss encounter, like survival wave. Like you kind of have to kill some dudes coming at you.
Right. Yeah.
After the boss to get a couple key drops just to get out of the room. I died on one of those post-boss encounters. Started back at the beginning of the entire fucking level. 30 minutes of progress lost, including that boss fight.
So is it like quick save, quick load, or is it just nothing?
No, there was nothing. Like literally the last time you loaded into a level is where they put you back to when you died.
Well, is that because you're supposed to be playing it co-op and you can pick the other player up?
Yeah. So,
but eventually you run out of lives.
Yeah, you have three quote unquote shared lives, and when you run out of your 3 lives, then you start over.
Could your AI not pick you up?
The AI had burned those lives.
Oh, okay.
Basically. But like, if either of you bleeds out, you lose a life. So
yeah, see, that's stuff that, like, again, in the context of an E3 demo, those are things that are really hard to,
especially because I think they were kind of forcing people to play co-op at E3, right? Like you had to play with another.
And when I played it, I played with person. Yeah, like I wasn't even like coming out of that demo, I was not 100% sure that you could play it alone.
I would say actually like 80% of the time the AI was pretty functional, but there were there were just enough times where I was bleeding out. And the AI was just fucking around, running back and forth.
That's a shame.
You crawl around, pull at the knees, just like, come on, man, just pick me up.
You can yell. You can definitely hit a button to be like, hey, help.
That's a shame because the premise of that game seemed so strong.
There's not enough of what you want from the modern Wolfenstein iteration.
Yeah.
Meaning cutscenes, right?
Yeah,
honestly.
You saw the best of it on that UPF when we played it.
The beginning and the end of that game is like rare 90% of the story.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of story in that game. It's a short game in general, and it sounds like they've improved it enough that it would be worth probably still checking out.
Well, I still have it installed.
And it just leaves the state of that world and that continuity in a really strange place going forward.
Oh, yeah.
Which is worth seeing.
Well, isn't it... Well, I guess I won't just sit here and pick your brain for spoilers or whatever, but my understanding is that it was... So the next Wolfenstein would have to take place prior to this game, right? Or
that's a great question.
The theory that I've seen that I buy into the most is they'll probably flash back to events from before this game at the beginning of the next game, and then probably jump forward to after this game, because there are major events referenced in this game as if they have already taken place.
Exactly, yeah.
That they've never even you never saw.
There was like the one thing that is supposed to happen at the end of a third Wolfenstein game.
That already happened, and also they wrote major characters out of the story that they didn't really address either. It's a weird thing.
That's weird.
It sounds like they've improved it a fair amount.
Yeah, that's a shame. I really it was a really strong demo. So when people were unhappy with it, I was like, oh man, that sucks.
There's some things I like about it. I think that it is maybe a good direction for them to go in, but it just needs a lot of refinement.
Enough about that. Let's talk about good demos that turned out into really fucking good video games.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I heard I know at least one person who was really not impressed with Control at E3, which made me really worried.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
They're fucking wrong. That game looked good then.
Okay, that's fair.
And I came away from that demo at E3 going like, okay, Control has the potential to be really amazing.
Well, the thing I think you said last week is that it gets a pretty slow start.
Yes.
Until you get enough powers, and wasn't that demo like right at the beginning of the game?
No, it was
or at least you didn't have a ton of
third, fourth. It was like in that demo.
You didn't have all the powers though.
That demo started right before you meet the janitor.
They didn't.
Yeah, wow.
So it's pretty early on.
Isn't that 5 minutes into the game?
Yeah, isn't that like a minute into the game?
Oh wait, well, you meet the janitor once right at the beginning.
Sorry, it was right before you fall in the hole and get the telekinesis.
Yeah. So like that's not a.
It's not far in, but it was far in enough.
Proof of concept.
Yeah. And that was the first time I guess they had shown the game in a natural state, whereas previous hands-ons they've been like, here's all the powers unlocked, go nuts.
They did a give all before.
This was the
demo started.
Yeah, this was like a hey, here's the powers you would have, and so you had the ability, I think, at that point where you would probably find the telekinesis and you might find the shield if you had enough time in that demo. But I did not find the shield in that demo. Anyway, I came away from that demo thinking like, this has a lot of potential. The combat seems like it's pretty good. The characters and setting and story were initially grabbed me.
That stuff stands out the most.
Sounds like atmosphere and style.
And so I don't know, but so like I think that's the thing is like because the atmosphere and the story and style of that game are so big, I don't think it's a slow start at all. I think that game is the perfect start. For
right from the start,
is.
I was like, I'm having fun just running around reading dossiers, emails,
exactly. Like
I was in.
The idea that you walk into this building that is ostensibly like an FBI stand-in headquarters and there's no one there. Like just that initial premise, I was like, I'm fucking in.
Yeah, like the idea of like an earnest X-Files type setting is like really exciting because who's done that?
Yeah, no, and so
like even the X-Files games were super tongue-in-cheek.
The
like
X-Files games
this
are garbage.
Barely been tried even.
And this, has its moments of just like, like somewhere in the lore you're finding like pretty funny shit.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much good flavor.
Well, that's kind of Remedy, I guess.
Yeah. But like, I can't say enough good things about Control. It's just a great game. It is like someone sat down and took a long look at Quantum Break and said, we can do way fucking better than this in every possible way. And then they did. It's like everything I hated about Quantum Break is like 10 times better. Just like fixed and then some, and like just the trust they give the player in terms of like, here's a world where you have to navigate it, and yes, you have a map, but it doesn't really, there's no in-world line. You have to read the signs in the world to know where you're going, and the game is good enough for that to work.
The signage in that game is so good. There's like signs everywhere, which is super helpful because that map is kind of shit. Like it's good for giving you like go to this sector.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
But when it starts like layering stuff on top of each other, I found it a little hard to decipher. But I didn't need it that much.
That seems to be the lesson of everything from like Dark Souls to like RE2 with the map from earlier this year. Like navigation in and of itself can be super fun and engaging if you do it right.
And it grounds that location in a way that games don't.
Yeah.
Because I have all those signs are real. Like, so when I played that demo, I was like, man, this map is like, they need to draw a line in the world. What the fuck are they doing? It's 2019. And I was like, oh wait, like 20 minutes later, I was like, okay. No, they made all the signs real and they work and they're legible and okay.
Which you don't want to believe because video games like don't do
video
that.
games train you to not look at the walls of unless you're looking for some dumb joke they put on a texture. Which there's plenty of those but they're actually good. Like you're trained to not give a fuck about any of that, but they make that place feel real. And the combat I think flows together really well. It gets better on top of itself as you kind of unlock more of the abilities and stuff. Like you just get a lot of options later.
Like pretty much like an hour after where I had played up to last week, I got kind of the last big power. The last big power you get, and that really like clicked the game into a place, and I don't know if it was, I feel like it's partially on my end of me not wanting to explore the powers of the different types of guns as much as I could have, and I'm just being like, I'm just going to use the base pistol and like play as like a cover shooter, but then also occasionally throw shit at people. But like once I got all the powers working together and all the different types of weapons and stuff, it just became such a, Jeff, you said it best, it has a flow. It has this like really good flow to it.
Yeah. And it's not a cover shooter. Like it doesn't really even have a cover system at all.
No, you can crouch.
But as soon as you shoot, like you can crouch and then aim down sights will pop you out of crouch, but you do not go back into crouch when you let off. So there's no like pop in and out type stuff. And yeah, I think there are few weapons, but they are powerful, and like the archetypes are like smart and necessary. Like every one of them feels like it has a purpose. I didn't upgrade all of them to the maximum because they have, some of them have a more limited purpose than others. But yeah, it's got loot that kind of helps with that system because you're slotting that onto the weapons, and like, okay, well, I want this base pistol to chew through enemy armor. Though the telekinesis actually just devastates enemy armor.
Best weapon in the game is the telekinesis.
Yeah, just throw shit at people.
I will say maybe my number one like legitimate game concern, aside from performance issues, is the whole upgrade and inventory system was really clunky.
Yeah.
Like the fact that there's a limit, so you have to go in there and like delete.
And it
so
doesn't,
like
you
there's
can't
rarity
sort
tiers.
them,
You can't
so,
sort by
like,
rarity.
so you can't sort by like, I know I have 8 different items that do the same thing but different percentages.
Yeah.
Let me scrap the 7 that
or
I
like
don't
some are
need.
weapons
Yeah.
specific, so it's just like, okay, I don't want all the shotgun upgrades or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's just like it's just really like basic. It feels like a PS2 era inventory system or something. Which
Yeah.
to be fair, I was in there for maybe a total of 15 minutes combined throughout the game. Like you're barely in there.
Kind of once you get your loadout down, it's more a matter of like I would check it every couple hours and go like, oh, did I find better shit?
Yeah.
I
Like
guess
or
I
like
should
you'd fill
look.
up and be like, okay,
Yeah.
now's a good time to go through and just delete shit. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that stuff could be better for sure. You're right. But yeah, I think it's a really fascinating story that goes in directions that I found unexpected. Like I thought I had some good ideas about where that game was going to go. Like I had 2 or 3 working theories, one of which was like, oh, this is going to be like that Bionic Commando reboot.
Go on.
Do you mean your significant other is going to be living in your arm?
Yeah, well, not an arm, but yeah, that was my initial thing was like, oh, okay, this is how this is going to go. This has to be how this goes. I'm like, no.
yeah, the story. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like the writing,
Yeah.
both the story itself, but then also like all
Jessie
the
as a
supplemental stuff
character,
you
I think is really. I really like her.
I really like
Yeah.
her. I think she gets a little quippy kind of halfway through and just like, oh, that was weird. Or
Well,
like,
but think about this though. There's a moment halfway through that game, and we'll talk about it separately because I know people should. But there's a moment halfway through that game where she comes to this realization, just like, I really fucking love doing this. And so it makes that lighthearted nature work because it's like, she's like, oh, for the first time, I'm actually enjoying myself and not on the run or like all. Anyway,
I think it makes sense for the character, but my issue is like, look at a Twin Peaks or something, and the way that show does humor is like, Cooper's never like delivering a one-liner about how weird the thing is. They just have characters saying things.
It's
or
everyone
doing
plays
things.
it straight. Like there's a bunch of weird stuff,
which I
happening,
would have
but, yeah.
maybe appreciated a little more.
Yeah,
if they
it's
played her a
the
little
difference
more
between
straight.
characters acting like real people and characters who like kind of address the audience in a kind
Yeah.
of like a winking way.
I don't think it's like too distracting, but there's like one moment in particular, the moment I tweeted about. I'm not going to say anything about it. Don't worry. But like it literally ends with Jessie saying, "That was awesome." And I'm like, it was, but you don't need to tell me that. I'm here saying that to myself.
But like, I think her inner monologue is interesting because it's like if you turned that off, if you would get that kind of Twin Peaks effect of just like someone playing it totally straight because you wouldn't have the context of her going like, this janitor's fucking weird.
I love Ati.
Yeah,
he's a great character.
He's great.
I don't know if this is a weird mechanical question, but is it a game with like a lot of sort of missable side stuff, or is it just
Yes. Oh,
okay?
yeah, absolutely.
It's not just a 12-hour like here's the through line.
No,
There's
there
not,
are
not much off to the
as
sides.
far as I can tell, well, maybe not. I was gonna say there are side things that you don't get missions for.
There's straight up a power that I completely missed for a matter of hours, just because it was a side quest,
Right.
and I didn't bother doing it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a lot of stuff off the beaten path, but also a lot of it is locked off. Like people were starting to compare it to like a Metroid style of game.
Yeah.
And it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
Like there are areas that you are locked away from, sometimes by just like security card access level Metal Gear Solid 1 style, and some of it by like, oh, I can't traverse this yet. Like you see some stuff pretty early on in the game, like, and also there were screenshots of that power you were talking about, that late power. I was like, okay, I'll be able to come back and get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I really like the story. I guess the only thing I'd say about the story is that I feel like the ending of it is, it's not ambiguous per se, but it's just not quite as much as I wanted out of the end of the game.
It's not as resolute as it could have been.
The final encounter doesn't feel necessarily like a final encounter.
I honestly thought they could have cut that entire last combat area.
Yeah.
Which again, we'll get into.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to talk about this stuff.
Or like,
but
it needed a payoff.
Yeah.
But the bit you talked about with the music and like that's like for as corny as that music is, but it's perfect because of who gives you the music. Like, of course he would be listening to that bullshit, and it all works that game just fucking works.
It does.
And then the technical aspect of it is a bummer because it sounds like those base console versions run like crap.
Yeah, I think Digital Foundry said
Yeah.
it hits like 10 frames a second in spots. They've come out and acknowledged that it's a problem.
It's honestly one of the worst performing console video games I've played.
It sounds real bad.
But the thing about it, and I don't want to justify this in any way, but like if you find yourself in a situation where you only have a base console and you really want to play this game, I kind of got used to it and be able to like anticipate where it would be really framey. It's just like, especially if you're using telekinesis in a big room or something.
It's very physicsy.
Yeah, well, they have said they're working on it and they will try to improve it, but they also said it's going to take some time. So, like, if you're not dying to play it, you could try to hold out for a couple months. And
I'll just say, like, it's bad, and no, it's bad, but it like is very technically playable.
It sounds like the Xbox One X runs it best of the consoles.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Since Quantum Break was an exclusive, I'm sure their tech is more mature on
that's
Xbox.
Like 1440p, and then PS4 Pro is a little below that. So I bought that 2080 Ti.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about this.
Yeah, let's talk about the important part.
Sell me on this card, which I'm already definitely going to buy.
It's the reflections, and it's like really simple stuff. That game is very striking, and it's not the traditional ray tracing. Like all those ray tracing demos that you see are very much about just like, look at these lights, look at them scatter,
shadows,
and light and shadow. But in this, it's like it's the realistic reflections of your character reflected back at you through a pane of glass, and you see through it also.
Okay,
and the per position in the world in the reflection looks appropriate, and the stuff beyond it looks appropriate. There are elements of like in their GDC tech demo was a lot of it was built around using telekinesis to pick up light sources and fling them around. That stuff's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Because everything gets a shadow. Like,
yes.
Like it's kind of the Doom 3 thing, but actually carried all the way through to its logical conclusion.
But then also this game does a lot with like colored lighting. It's weird.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. Something you can get excited about. Some colored lighting. Man. But like you solve puzzles.
Is there like any stained glass or anything?
No. No.
I'll wait and see for myself.
But there's a lot of good, really red areas.
Okay. I've seen
the way that stuff
yeah.
looks and reflects and refracts. The way all that stuff looks is really striking.
Oh, I bet those
It's
like
really
gross
striking.
areas look really good too.
Like yes. Yeah. And all of that stuff really comes together, and it's no one thing. It's no like it's not the sort of thing where you point at this and go, here, look at this, because it's like it's every frame of it. You're just getting a little bit more detail than you would otherwise, and
that is the kind of secret sauce of the tech, and that's why those Minecraft videos are so good at showing it off, because it's like, here's a red block and here's a green block, and here you can see where the two colors are blending into a third color, because everything just interacts with each other.
Yeah,
like it should,
and that's a very mechanical way to show it off. But like with Control, a lot of that stuff just comes to feel really organic.
So I guess this is like the first game where the tech has really been passed through like some very focused art design.
Yes,
and like applied in an actual real world setting.
Like the people that put that together and used that technology to great effect.
They thought about how to use
and
it. Yeah, that's fantastic.
And it really it's really good.
Man.
It's
does
really
it perform well as well? Like if you turn all that stuff on, what kind of frame rate are you getting?
So I'm still getting, and the G-Sync monitor will kind of hide some of that. It ran. I have no performance complaints.
Okay.
After buying whatever the $700 G-Sync monitor and the $1,300 graphics card, I have no performance complaints. But I
mean, I'm on a GTX 1080 now, which is
that's what I was on before.
Okay,
that's what I went from was a straight
I can justify them.
Yeah. It's it made me feel justified in the purchase, and in a way that I didn't expect. Like I bought it thinking like, this is a dumb fucking thing to buy. I'm gonna get it anyway and I know it'll at least do this video rendering stuff. So that's like a utilitarian thing that I will benefit from no matter what, even if I'm never gonna play fucking Metro or Battlefield 5 and this was pre-Gamescom, I want to say. So like there was like that rush of announcements of like, here are games like Minecraft and a handful of other games that they said like, here are games that are going to support this shit. I bought it on the other side of that. So I was getting it, and then I got it, and I was like, I guess I'll download Battlefield. And I was like, oh, I don't own Battlefield on the PC. Oh, well, whatever. and then didn't play anything that took advantage of it for probably like the first week and a half.
Did you get that Quake 2?
I did.
Okay.
I did get that Quake 2. And so that was the only thing I'd played on it for a while. And because, also like did not have a lot of time to play video games on top of everything else.
Fair.
So yeah, I made time for Control.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was that good.
I am really happy for Remedy.
Yeah.
That this has landed so well because they've been,
and
I feel like they've kind of been in the woods for a few years
Totally.
when Quantum Break didn't quite hit.
No. And I know people put the game on a pedestal, and I think it has its place in terms of influence and all that other stuff, but this is probably my favorite game that Remedy has made.
I'm with you on that.
And
I'm a big Alan Wake fan.
I'm not a big Alan Wake fan, but I am a big Max Payne fan.
I like both of those games.
And as much as Max Payne, I think is like, it was revolutionary in its day and did a lot of really important shit. And that can't be ignored. Like, I think this is the best complete product they've ever made.
Man, that's great.
I honestly could talk for hours just about the supplemental files you're finding, because there's official reports, which is story related stuff, but then they're all this stuff about urban legends and myths, and there's one pickup about Korean fan death.
Okay. Okay.
Just it's real, turns out.
Yeah.
The government's covering it up.
I've seen some screen grabs of that finger puppet show you talked about going around.
Yeah.
I need to see that fucking
Threshold Kids.
That's fun, but people were going nuts over it. I liked it fine, but the Threshold Kid stuff didn't. Yeah, it was okay.
I liked I think my favorite audiovisual stuff were the Dr. Darling's videos.
Yep.
That dude, the guy played by Alan Wake, just kills it.
Yep.
Would I have run into those if I'm 2 hours in, or was that further in?
You might have run into
is he
one.
the guy
He's
who
got the big glasses.
Yeah, so he tells you about the telekinesis power comes from the Russian nuclear launch codes.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that guy. That last video.
I'm excited to go home and play.
Yeah, this sounds like a game to play.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's just a fantastic fucking game.
Yeah, congrats to Remedy.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
excited to buy a new video card.
Yeah. Just how good Dodo will look.
I mean, you're gonna need one for the RTX support found in Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh boy,
True, yeah.
that's
We
fair.
announced the game's
Fair.
coming.
You've got to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
They don't
your
give you
research.
one.
No, I wish. Can you imagine? God, those cards are $1,000.
Yeah,
They're a lot.
Yeah.
No, there's some cheaper ones out there now.
I don't want that.
Okay, that's all right.
you know my PC habits. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
I tell you how to live your life.
I remember this period when I got the GTX 1080 and I was talking to you how Hitman runs at 60 frames a second. I think I'm being CPU bottlenecked, and you're like, you have an i7, it's only 3 years old, it should be fine. I was like, no, it's CPU bottlenecking. And I bought the new CPU and it totally was.
Right.
So I was right.
There you go.
I'm pretty close to having to maybe do the
whole
CPU,
upgrade.
motherboard, RAM, maybe looking at these AMDs this time around. I don't know.
RAM is expensive again, right? I
thought it bottomed out again.
Oh, maybe okay.
maybe
or came down at least a little bit.
Yeah, it was super expensive last year, and I think it has come down.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. Sounds like Intel is maybe they're kind of going to be on a new generation next year.
They're always on. They're always.
No. This is for the first time in
but
5 years.
Okay.
Since the one you have is the first iteration of the previous generation. Yeah. If that tells you anything. Anyway.
That CPU has done me very well for a good long time.
Yeah.
And it's getting to be time. Also, that thing sounds like 9 jet engines strapped together.
We should.
Spins up.
Sounds like my PS4 playing.
Before you get rid of it, we should really delete our CPUs before.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. You get shut up.
Yeah.
I hate.
We'll talk about it later. It's not the time nor the place. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and argue about destroying our computers. Ben, it sounds like you are a convert to Remnant from the Ashes.
Hell yeah,
The most
man.
memorable title in the history of video games.
Seriously. So I first saw people chatting about this game. It's well, it's a third-person shooter, Dark Souls. And I'm like, that's not really my I like third-person shooters. I'm okay with the Souls games. I like some more than others. But, it seems like it's not necessarily up my alley. And then, you wanted a third person on the quick look. So you told me to grab a code and download it. And honestly, within like 15 minutes, the first time you start shooting a guy, I'm like, okay,
The shooting feels amazingly good. Like, it's really hard to describe.
I saw a person compare it to Resident Evil 4,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
which was one of the first like third-person shooters that really did good stuff with like,
Yes.
you shoot them in the shoulder and they like stagger back in that shoulder.
The way that enemies react to getting hit in that game is incredibly satisfying.
Yeah.
Like the fodder, the first kind of type of fodder enemy you see is basically just this like very squat, like living sphere.
Just a little orb with
They're
like
just
tiny little arms
these
and
little
legs.
round dudes with tiny arms and legs who like run at you in giant hordes. And like when you shoot them, they'll do things like tumble over.
Yeah, sometimes they
do
like
backwards
roll
somersaults
backwards.
when you it's
Oh,
really
poor guys.
and like I can't.
Don't they're bad.
Yeah, they're not nice at all. Nobody is nice in that game.
Nobody is nice at that game.
If nobody is nice, then everyone is nice.
I guess that's you got to keep the bar low. Like we said.
the guy who upgrades your gear is kind of
yeah,
nice.
he's a decent guy.
He's
sure,
like the
pretty
only
friendly.
nice guy.
Oh yeah, who's the woman next to?
She's
yeah,
super
she's
grumpy.
unhappy to be working with you.
Super grumpy. I can't speak to the other classes, but the pistol that I started with, like you can just like dump a clip as fast as you can click the mouse button. Like it feels like it's a really good feeling shooter.
Did we talk about this before on this
I
podcast?
covered the basics.
Okay.
You were out the week that I first
that's
started
right.
playing it, but
So I was on the hunter class, which is kind of the like long ranged. You get like a very standard rifle, not like a just single shot rifle. With your like class benefit being you do better critical hits. And I was kind of worried. Basically, Brad was like, "Don't pick the ex-cultist class because me and Vinny already picked that."
everybody I know who was playing that game picked like
I picked that class as well.
Yeah, because I mean, they start with a heal. Which
Yeah,
is
it's
just, like,
got a built-in
clutch.
heal, and it's just like, okay, of course I'm going to pick this.
And so I was like, okay, I'll pick. I'm not like a great shooter guy. I've gotten better with like playing more Apex and stuff, but I'll give this a shot. And honestly, I'm so glad I did because like, enemies in that game so clearly have these vulnerable like red spots that to be their crit shot spots. And the shooting is so good that I was just like in there, just standing yards away from these dudes, just shooting them. The shooting's great, but honestly, the number one thing in this game that stands out to me is just the sheer amount of shit in there that they don't tell you about, that they leave for you to discover. Like, we kind of were like sharing secrets before the quick look of like, you were telling me you could go into the archives downstairs and like, not only find items, but also information and story stuff.
Like basically, the first time you leave the hideout that you start in, there's a key card just like on a table left behind by the guy you're trying to, chase down.
Yeah.
But if you turn right back around and go back into the hideout with that key card, all of a sudden there's like 3 more doors you can open.
Yeah.
And you get like a new skill down there and a bunch of talent points,
like
and a ton of lore.
And then like I was sharing with you,
But they
like,
don't tell you that at all. Like,
No.
you have to poke around to find that stuff.
there's early on in the kind of the first main area you go to, there's an enemy that kind of chases you around and seems to be invincible. Like bullets bounce off him. He's got like 2 big swords guarding
He
him.
just sort of like blocks all your bullets when you
And
shoot
then
him.
I realized like when he's climbing over stuff, he's vulnerable, and so I could like kill him.
So
and
after you told me that, I was able to kill him this weekend, which was super satisfying.
yeah,
I ran into that guy, and like the first time I went down into the sewer, and then died to him.
Yeah.
Or like, or rather, the ball enemies like rushed me, and I was like, "Whoa, I can't handle this." And then I go back, and he wasn't there again.
It's good. Yeah, it's random. Like it's
Fuck that. Like,
but you might find him again later.
I wanted to kill him then. Like I felt
Well, you should've
the
killed
thing
him
is,
the first
I
time.
tried, but like so many enemies rushed me that they just came out of a corner that I couldn't see. And I was kind of like, I feel like that encounter that I ran into was like unwinnable.
I mean,
or close to
Maybe
it.
you should have picked the hunter who has an ability to see enemies behind walls. You
Maybe
ever
I
think of
should.
that?
Maybe. Well, now I am.
I will say I have found that game immensely more frustrating by myself because as soon as you go down, you're just done and you have to start back at the checkpoint versus obviously with 2 or 3 people, you can get each other
Yeah,
up.
I was talking to you a bit about that. Like, I love the Souls games. I love to play them solo. Like, I'm a big fan of that. So I never call people in, not because I'm like, oh, I do it the hard way. Just not my thing. I like to do it by myself. But like playing that game solo, and especially when I got to the first boss, I was like, this is
It's tough. It's
The
very
bosses
tough.
are maybe the worst part of that game for me, especially because they're just kind of just souped up enemies, but with a bunch of ads.
yeah, exactly.
They're not
It
that
is
interesting.
very much an exercise in like aggro management and sharing resources and like kind of calling out positions and stuff. It's that.
That dragon we fought was probably the coolest boss of anything.
I'm
just
still
because it was
so mad
different.
I didn't get that. Holy shit!
But I did clutch that one part. We'll
true.
never
It's
they'll
true.
never be able to. We may have lost the Susans or the Lizzes.
The Lizzes. Like that quick look was a great example of why that game is cool because like at one point, so we were playing Vinny's game and he was farther in the story than us, so nobody knew what we were getting into. And like at one point we walked into like that bandit den
Yeah.
Where like the king of the bandits is standing up on this catwalk, like yelling at us, like it seems like shit's about to go down.
And for some reason, I was controlling.
Yeah,
the
the
dialogue
way it
point.
handles like who can decide where you fast travel to or who picks dialogue options is weird. That stuff's not very clear. But this dude was like about to sick his bandit posse on us, and all of a sudden he was like, "Wait a minute, where'd you get that pocket watch?" And
Which
like
also
because
I didn't have.
yeah,
but
that's
you
weird.
did.
I was the only one that had the pocket watch, but this is a pocket watch that you only get by talking to an NPC who is missable, and he only gives it to you if you talk through his entire dialogue tree.
Yeah.
And it's like got good stats on it and stuff. But this dude was like, wait, that's my grandmother's pocket watch. If you give me that, I'll let you go. So we gave it to him, and then like we basically avoided a boss fight, presumably because we gave up this
We
item.
like leveled up and got like.
and then he gave us a bunch of cool armor. That
Yeah,
had, like,
he was like, "Here, have some bandit shit."
Why wouldn't he just kill you and take it?
Well, so the first line of dialogue that I feel like I had to pass or choose correctly was like, "Hey, where did you get that?" And you say, "From who?" And he's like, "How do you know that guy?" And you say something like, "Oh, we're like family." And he's like, "Oh, you're tight with that guy? Okay, you're tight with me as long as you give me the watch."
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a cool encounter, and I'd assume that would have resulted in a fight if we hadn't had that item.
Totally, it looked like a boss arena, like, very much.
And was that armor the armor that he gave us? Was that the one that gives you a chance to just like regenerate bullets as you're shooting them?
Yes.
That thing is incredible.
Yeah.
Because when you've got that 2-shot, I don't know if you've got the coach gun. You've got different
No,
stuff.
I don't.
I got that one, yeah.
The coach gun, it's like a 2-shot, like it's kind of a weird
Shotgun-esque.
shotgun rifle hybrid
Yeah.
thing. Like when that ability keeps procking and you can just keep shooting with that thing like 5 times in a row without having to reload.
I
It's
love a good proc.
fantastic. And then we hit this we just wandered into a side area, and all of a sudden it was like what the quest popped up. It was called like A Tale of Two Lizzes.
Yeah.
And there were 2 different NPCs named Liz in this area.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it just started spawning a bunch of waves of enemies, and it was just like protect the Lizzes. Which we failed to
didn't.
do.
No, yeah.
Both Lizzes unfortunately did not
How dare you?
They just died.
survive
Yeah.
that fight.
And
But
the worst part was they died, and we just see this locked door
Yeah.
and this glowing box of loot.
Like you
behind
see,
it.
you see like a purple and a blue item in this room that you probably would have been able to get into if
Can
the
you,
Lizzes
like-
had lived.
Or F4 at that point? Is
No.
there any? There's
No,
nothing
like,
it's
it
like Dark
saves-
Souls. It
saves
saves
progress all the
immediately.
time.
It was Vinny's game though, so I could totally go do it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I am looking forward to saving the Lizzes personally. But it's cool. There's all this shit in there that can or cannot happen based on what you've done previously and the decisions you make, and it feels very dynamic.
And the thing that was really interesting and really exciting for me to read from the comments on that quick look was that it gets a lot more visually interesting after. It kind of has a very drab post-apocalyptic.
It's very much just like rotted out American city.
People were comparing it kind of to the open world in Near, that
Yeah.
like big area.
Yeah.
It's like overgrown city stuff.
Like it doesn't look amazing graphically.
But
That,
then
that
like,
first area I thought was incredibly boring.
yeah, it's
Like,
it's drab. It's definitely drab. But
but then I
it
heard
sounds
it like
like
really breaks out.
sounds like there are other worlds you go to that are super different. That game's cool as hell. I really want to play more of it.
Yeah, it's
But
really cool. It's hard to go back. I tried playing with randos because I was like, I can't play this solo again.
That's the problem.
And with randos, it was okay, but like I feel like we were never on the same page because there was no communication.
Well, plus, if there's only one player controlling dialogue and making choices, like you probably end up getting roped into some bad situations that way. Right?
And you're going to get matched with people who just run through and like button through all the dialogue, and like that's half the cool part of that game. And
or like not wanting to fast travel
Yeah.
to the same locations. It's
Yeah.
like, when do you go back to upgrade your weapons and all that?
yeah, so it's a game you have to play kind of specifically to really enjoy, which is
If only you could hit
not
a button
ideal.
and ping the world contextually.
Ooh. Let's say there's like 8 different pings.
Okay. Let's say you're playing alone and still pinging stuff because you're used to it.
Real quick, did you play any of that Apex solo?
Played a lot of it. I played
Oh.
a fucking lot of it.
Huh.
I heard people like. I only played a couple games, but people seem to like it a lot more than they thought they would.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
Apex Legends solos were really good. Because I think it helped my overall game because it's like, okay, the stakes are way lower. I'm not fucking up a team when I
If you
do
want to
dumb
go
shit.
practice, and you're like, I want to drop hot.
I want to drop hot, or hey, I'm gonna pick this weapon that I have barely used because I want to get better with it, and I'm not letting a team down by running in with a new weapon or a character whose ult I don't understand yet. And so, just from a purely instructional standpoint, being able to just play alone was huge.
it also does kind of like flatten the amount of kind of variability in the encounters, because every time you see a player, you know they're by themselves.
Yes,
Like you don't have to worry about, oh, his buddy's going to come out of
right. And
the side door and
if you
destroy
see
me.
people fighting, you know that you can run up and shoot them both and kill them both and laugh about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, like you're just getting a lot more kind of one-on-one, like pure shooting practice.
Yeah.
that way.
And also, like, the circle closed a lot faster. So the first circle was pretty small.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so it really flings people together a little bit faster than I think it does. I could be wrong, but it felt like a much tighter experience.
I feel like the main game needs to do that, because one of the things when I was playing Apex, I haven't played for a while, was like the circle was a non-issue. Like, it didn't force, and like it was way too slow. We were always ahead of it. Like,
first circle, and
doesn't hurt enough.
First circle in this one wasn't really a huge problem because you got 3 minutes as it closes in pretty slowly. But that also then let me drop wherever I wanted to, explore locations, and actually learn the map in a way that I hadn't before.
Yeah.
Because you drop into a location, it's like, oh, I understand basically what Skull Town looks like, but I don't know, like, oh, if I run this way, I go to this, and runoff is here, and this is here, and this is here, and being able to connect all the places on the map because I'm running across it a lot more often was nice.
Yeah.
And so that ended up being useful, and it was a lot of fun. I think the way that they handled the because it was an event tied to a separate currency and you would unlock separate skins, like they had to backpedal on that like halfway through it and go, oh, we'll sell them separately, fuck. But even then it was like, $20 for one of these skins.
Yeah. Well, that's how their pricing has always been structured. It's pretty brutal.
The skins game, the IRM skins game, comes for us all, yeah. So that stuff was maybe a little fucked up. Who
did you main?
But I went with Lifeline most of the time.
Weird, because that was the one that I felt like would be the most kind of.
Well, she can heal herself.
Hamstrung. Yeah, I guess there's that. But the passive is completely useless.
Well, the other passive is using consumables faster, which is.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Okay, that does help. Yeah, but obviously the revive is completely.
Yeah, but also like I've been playing Lifeline nonstop anyway, so I stuck with that for a while. But I eventually was like, okay, I actually started playing to the challenges because there are a lot of like finish top 3 with Mirage, do the send 20 fucking clones out,
30 people.
So I started just playing to a lot of that and setting down gas canisters and doing all that shit. And Octane actually seemed pretty well suited for the solos because he could regenerate out of combat, which is the thing you want when you're playing alone is to be a little more self-sufficient.
You don't have to worry about going too fast for your team. Right. Like that would happen to me when I started playing more Octane.
Exactly.
It's just like, oh, I got to.
But then the thing
down.
I realized is like, that first circle still closes just slow enough to where any character can make it. Yeah. Across the map even. So I was dropping way far away and still just like, oh shit, I got to go. And as long as I was on my shit, I was making it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I don't know that I can go back. I haven't tried to go back to the 3-player stuff, but now it's like, oh, I have to play with other people and button it up because these are strangers and I don't want to fuck them over. But yeah, they should.
Do you think Apex has got any more like in the mood to play battle royales as a group? Because I know we played PUBG a couple times, but we don't really group up that much.
Yeah, no, I usually play alone, and so the main reason I don't really group up and play games with people a lot is because I am, and now especially, like my time is not my own all the time.
Sure.
So it's like, I don't know when I'll be available to play, and I don't know how long I'll have. So the idea of just like, let's sit down and play some PUBG. It's like in 2/3 of the way through that match, I might have to bail on it to go do something.
That's fine. It's happened before. We'll kill you. We'll take your loot.
Yeah.
You're still useful.
Right.
Your container.
And so, yeah, with Apex, those matches are short enough, and they're strangers at the end of the day, so it's fine. But I think Apex, with the way the pinging system and communication stuff works, makes it easier to play with strangers. And
for sure, yeah.
In that case, I can play right now. It's not like, oh, do you want to play in 20 minutes? It's like, no, I'm going to sit down and play this game right now and play 2 games, maybe, and then stop because I got to do some other shit. And so that's the thing that the being able to play with strangers well in Apex really helps.
Yeah, that makes sense. To me though, the highs of a chicken dinner have not been matched by another battle royale. I keep coming back to PUBG.
Yeah.
Well, it's but also I don't know that I'll get many more chicken dinners. Like that's a skill curve that is probably like pass me by, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of stopped playing for a little bit, and I got back into it fairly recently. Played a couple of games with Will Smith, and I was still doing pretty well.
I think that problem is kind of endemic to all battle royales.
But
as somebody who tries to get every Tetris 99 theme that they put out, meaning I play that game like every 2 months now.
Sure.
People are really good at those types of games.
But I think the strategy of PUBG and the cadence of it is slow to a point where it isn't always about being quick on the trigger, right? Like it's more about like,
you're right, yeah.
I know the map, I know that a lot of people landed over here. They're going to have to make that rotation.
Especially
the rotations in PUBG are really what I like.
Hearing Will talk about that game, it sounds like it is like primarily a strategy game, and then
positioning is key. Like
on the
care
ground,
what gun you have.
On the ground shooting ability is kind of secondary almost.
Yeah, and it comes in useful definitely for sure. But like that's what I like about it. When I was playing Apex recently, me and my friend did a couple games back to back, and they were just so quick. And a lot of the encounters we'd get into would be over really quickly because like, oh, we got third party and we're dead, or these people just killed me super fast and I'm dead. And I like a more drawn out encounter, and PUBG definitely leans into that for sure.
Yeah, I think Apex kind of splits the
totally.
difference a little bit more, with time to kill and stuff like that. That was, like it's a console game.
Yeah,
it feels like a console game.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it
than PUBG does. And yeah, like I was hitting upon a lot of those weapon combos that they kind of seem to be building for with some of the stuff they added in the last few patches of just like, okay, here's this SMG that is good at disrupting shields, and then I've got something that is, like
better against health.
Yeah, better like I literally had Disruptor Mozambique, which is with the hop ups for both, and that's like one does better shield damage, one does better non-shield damage, and playing the game that way, you're popping people real fucking fast.
Yeah. I think those were a great addition to the game.
It's fun. So I ended up playing a lot of the solo stuff. I took a break for that Modern Warfare Alpha, the 2v2 thing. Which I think is a cool idea, and I had an okay time with that. But playing with strangers, when I played that with people that I knew, that was a lot of fun as like a party game, kind of like, hey, we're having a great time here playing it. Then
do 4 people group up to play it, or do 2 people matchmake?
2 people. Well, you
either
whatever you got. I think.
So basically,
I assume you can private match and
have private matches basically.
I don't think that the alpha had that.
No, the alpha didn't have that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
You would know.
Yeah.
It's like a fast-paced thing of just like, here's this 2v2 round-based thing, and it lasts 45 seconds, something like that. I thought that was a lot of fun. The thing that kills it is all the downtime between rounds is way too much. You get a lot of like all the rigmarole of displaying a scoreboard and saying, now you've won 1 and they've won 0 and now we're switching sides, and like all the kind of standard Call of Duty scoreboard shit almost it feels like it takes longer than the rounds do a lot of the time. And that needs to change. I think for that mode to be a thing.
We need that time so you can give them a good old English welcome at the start of every round.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's a game about manners.
Yeah.
But like you're getting random loadouts in that even. So you kind of even the countdown time before the round starts is plenty for you to look at the loadout and go, okay, I've got this gun and this gun, this grenade. Okay, all right, we're good. Let's go.
And what is that? Is that like an objective based thing?
So it's just
it's not just kill the other 2 people, right?
So it is kill the other 2 people, but if you don't, there is a flag that spawns at the center of the map. That is a very quick capture, is like an overtime thing. So it's like, okay, either you kill the other 2 players, or you try to capture that flag. So then that flag draws everyone to the center to either, and usually someone goes for the flag and then gets shot, or and that ends the round one way or the other.
If no one goes to the flag as well, player of the team with the highest self wins. So there's there are fail conditions no matter which way it goes.
Yeah. So it's meant to be this fast paced thing, and I think it's a really cool idea. And yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I think playing it with strangers, it didn't really do it for me the way it did, when I saw it a while back. So there's that. But
yeah, I had kind of the same experience. Like playing with I played it with friends, and like when you can kind of like, okay, we're rushing left, or we're going to take him down.
Yeah,
that's cool as hell. But when you don't know what the other player is going to do, it's like.
And a lot of the time, I don't know what the fuck was going on, but it feels like a full third of the time the other player on my team was idle.
Oh.
And it was just like, all right, what? Maybe it's just something weird with the menu flow where people didn't realize that they were still in a lobby.
I saw a lot of people were just like checking out the guns, being like, I don't know what this does, so I'm going to fire it into the air.
Right.
I mean, I hear the guns sound amazing this year.
The animations and the deal animation specifically is one that just looks incredible.
There's some really nice looking and sounding shit in that game.
Did you play it on PC by any chance?
No, it was only on PS4.
Oh, was it exclusive? Okay.
So yeah,
Just want to hear about more ray tracing.
yeah. Well, yeah.
We have a ray tracing demo or trailer out there. You can go watch right. Don't do it right now. But watch it later.
All right. One last thing that I just have to talk about. Has anybody else done the Destiny account linking yet?
I did.
Cross save stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know?
That I'd lost 1,000 silver for doing it.
Okay. Well, that was my second question.
Yeah.
Is that actually how that works?
So you pick.
Yeah. So I know that. So it seems like because I have 1,000 silver on both PS4 and PC.
You pick which platform you want to carry forward.
Right.
You do not pick individual characters and
I
bring
know
them
that.
together.
Yeah.
The silver will not combine.
That
was the problem.
Yeah.
Is
So
that you can't-
I had 1,000 silver on my PC
Right.
account, which I'm never going to use again.
Right. So is the thing that I should have done sign in on the PC and spend all that silver?
For what?
I don't know.
You're never going to use those characters
I don't
again.
know.
Wait,
Yeah, but
okay,
then,
hold
but then
on,
but
hold on.
that vault.
Oh,
it's
right.
nothing combined.
Oh, even the vault doesn't carry over?
No.
Literally nothing?
So you're
Oh,
picking
that-
an
oh, so
account
God,
like
there's-
a PlayStation or PC.
Yeah, it's like now my
It's
siloed.
my PS4
Okay.
characters are now on all platforms.
I was hoping that like the
What does any of this mean?
it's a loot game. I was hoping that the unlocks, like the sort of collection level stuff on the back end, would carry over.
Hey, that'd be great.
Yeah,
But right, we should explain the premise. So,
Yes,
like,
please.
Destiny has enabled
it's the cross save.
Yes.
It's the you play
But-
your characters on any platform.
Got that much. But what is this about losing
Silver is the paid currency.
Okay.
So if you have paid currency
So
on more
you-
than one platform, you cannot combine it all
It
into.
doesn't migrate. Okay, so when you say you lost, it's not like you have to spend 1,000 silver to
No.
migrate your account.
No.
It's just whichever account you're coming from won't carry that paid currency.
Oh,
over.
well, I guess they can't let you buy items on one platform and then bring them into it because the platform holders will get mad
Yeah,
that,
something like that.
you've got items that you gave a different company money for.
Right.
Yeah, that's still
Okay.
That still sucks.
Yeah. So none of that stuff combined. I was hoping to be able to say I want this character from PS4 and this character from PC.
Oh no, I didn't expect that. Like I knew it was limited
I
to
was
platform.
hoping it would be something like that.
But I really hoped that the paid stuff would all combine together.
And it's weird because I guess that character, those PC characters, still exist in some kind of limbo. Like,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
understanding is you can unlink.
You can deactivate cross save and go back and play them again.
Yeah.
Well, I
So,
don't
like-
even know if you need to deactivate cross save.
That's what it said
I
when
thought
I-
you can just at some point in time select like actually this is the cross save account.
That's what I
now.
read originally, but then when I actually did the process, it said you need to deactivate cross save to access these non-active characters.
So you can like
Oh, weird.
unlink the PC
Yeah,
Sure. and then
from
just
your
goes-
cross save, and
But
then
then
it'll
it-
go back to your default.
but then if
PC.
you do that, you have to wait 90 days to reactivate the cross-platform stuff.
And also, like,
Also
there's,
not
there's no. I can think of zero reasons why I would go back to that PC character.
Yeah,
it was lower level. It was 1,000 silver that would have been locked on that character or those characters anyway.
Okay, yeah. Knowing that, I guess I don't
so it's-
mind as much.
It's like
It's
a
not-
frustrating little thing.
It's not
that-
perfect.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I didn't buy that silver with real money anyway. It was
think it
something that
just
just
came
came
with
with the ultimate or whatever
The
edition
digital
of the game I
deluxe.
bought.
or,
Yeah.
Here's the upside of the cross save or the cross-platform stuff.
Yeah.
I did the account merge. I fired the game up on Xbox where I only have the base Destiny 2.
Okay.
I don't
yeah.
even own Forsaken.
I figured it was going to do all
And
that
then
stuff.
I signed into my main character, and then I proceeded to watch 1,000 points worth of achievements
Yep.
spring up all at once.
Ah.
It was so good.
I need to do that. I meant to test that out. I
So,
figured it would do it.
I
but-
got hella trophies.
Unless they do work to prevent this in the future, I guess it remains to be seen if the free versions of Destiny 2 that are coming are going to let you get trophies and achievements. Period.
Boy, I'm
Unless
gonna
you
get
spend
so many
money.
Steam
I would assume
achievements.
so.
I would assume so.
But I know this is ridiculous, but the glorious future where you play that game only on the PC and then just sign in on the consoles occasionally and get all this stuff seems like it may have arrived.
All right.
So,
But you don't care about achievements anymore
I
or trophies.
don't not care.
Sure.
I mean, I think I've got
It's
90
fun to
points.
watch the
I-
numbers.
I
I
go
mean,
up.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I had a good time. When I was watching those
I
trophies
exist
come
in a strange limbo where I don't care, but I don't not care.
If you can get them, you will. Sort of thing.
She's not going to turn him
Sure.
away.
Yeah, I wouldn't kick an achievement out
Remember
of
that? Remember that time when you could open the Fallout 3 console
Mhm.
on PC and just enter commands
Yeah,
to
it
give
was a
yourself all the
beautiful time.
achievements?
It's a beautiful time.
Simpler times.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
The Avatar, the Last Airbender of its day.
The amount of effort, the effort to achievement ratio
It's high.
is so great
Yeah.
that I just can't resist.
I got some Gears Pop achievements.
Oh man, I downloaded that. I downloaded that because I heard it was actually good.
It's not good.
Okay, maybe my
It's
sources were not
okay.
trustworthy.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it seems like you might like it because it seems like it's a Clash Royale kind
It's
of
going to
thing.
make you want to play Clash Royale.
Yeah, it's just a shadow of that.
Somebody writes in about Clash Royale every few months, and every time they write in, it sounds like the developers are getting more desperate for people to come back.
Brad, you can earn trophies playing 2v2 now
in
Clash Royale.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can raise up your level that way.
Last time somebody wrote in, they were just like, "Hey, they're just like throwing items at people now." If you come
kind of
back,
great,
like,
and
but
bad.
I don't need that.
Yeah, I played an hour or so Gears Pop probably.
How does pops look?
Bad. Yeah, you customize your own. Like it's like skin color, hair, do-rag color.
I was going to ask about the do-rag.
Yeah.
I'm glad you covered it. Thank you.
And then like there are little animations with them after a fight where they run up to the other customized one of the other player, and then they chainsaw them. But instead of cutting it in half, eventually they just shake for a while, and then the head of the Funko Pop that lost just pops off and rolls around.
That's almost worse.
So does it make a popping sound?
No, I don't think so.
off?
I don't know.
No,
I don't
it
have my
doesn't.
sound on.
Makes
It's
a
a phone
Funko
game.
sound.
What's that?
It's
It's Tim Allen.
No, that's oh.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Totally different.
Oh boy.
And yeah, I just so instead you get like I'm pretty sure it's still John DiMaggio, but pitched up because he's a Funko Pop now, and it's just like
Fun.
Yeah,
I love Funko Pop because they take everything I like and make it worse.
yeah, it's really great for that. It's like here's one of the worst art styles imaginable. It's like, oh, did you like super deformed chibi characters? We westernized it in the worst possible way. Check it
I
out.
never thought about it like that, but it
looks
really
like
is
absolute
bad
dog shit.
Bad chibis.
Yeah,
I love chibis.
just fucking
I
terrible.
can dig a chibi, you know?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I feel like Nendroid, good chibi.
Yeah.
Funko.
Here's Nendroid. So let's fucking go.
Oh, my Techies figure is coming soon.
There's a Techies figure?
I got a Techies Nendroid dog.
There are Techies Nendroid?
It's the first
It's a dog?
It's the first Nendroid I've ever bought. It's coming out.
Do you have the
October.
Dragonite one? The
No,
Murano?
no.
How do we-
I just told you it was the first.
Okay.
How do we feel about these rubber ducks I keep seeing?
I like the Street Fighter rubber
people
ducks
into the
a
rubber
lot.
ducks?
Can I get some more context for that
Yeah,
question?
the Street Fighter rubber ducks are the first ones I saw, but then I feel like I saw another property has also been duckified.
Yeah, I think that's the hot. Well, I mean, like Funkos are so fucking huge that everyone's trying
Yeah.
to do like their version of Funko.
Oh, is this
kinda-
like a vinyl collection thing?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the ducks. I think they're
yeah.
okay.
You know, they're just like little rubber duckies, but like the
There's a Ryu duck.
got
And
a
he has
red
got the
headband.
headband.
There's a
and
Guile
the Blanca
duck.
duck's got the hair. and he's-
Chun-Li duck.
Okay, sure.
They're okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
They're
know.
okay because the core of it is fine. Like a rubber duck looks like a rubber duck.
Yeah,
You look at it, and
The
it's
core
fine.
of it's a real thing.
Yeah,
Rubber
the
duck has
core of
existed
a-
for a good long time,
of a
and you're like, oh,
Funko is-
here's your fun spin on a rubber duck.
It's a lifeless hunk of plastic
Yeah,
that
just the deadest eyes they could find.
Yeah, it really is the eyes.
Just terrible.
You know what mobile game has great art, which I booted up for the first time in a very long time?
Oh no, I know this one.
Yeah,
I know
you
this one
do.
because you showed this. To
You
me.
made me do it.
I didn't make you.
Well, in a manner of speaking, you mentioned loot, and I said, oh, I like loot because the numbers go up. Then I thought, Wiz Khalifa's Weed Farm. I haven't opened that in like a year. Do you know there's a premium subscription for Wiz Khalifa's Weed Farm now, where you get like a weekly stipend of like...
It's kind of what that's around the time I stopped playing it.
I think that was going to go one of two ways. Either
Yeah.
I'm in
Yeah.
or I
Yeah.
stop playing it.
No,
But that weed still looks good. Like, you saw the art, right?
It looked clean.
It's clean weed.
it's very clean.
The
looking
New York
weed.
event
I
just
don't want
started.
clean
Oh.
weed.
Last time I played it was right around the time they did that, and there was like a Canada level. That
Yeah.
was all hockey themed.
I
or
did that for a
something.
bit.
Hockey weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that I haven't received any weed gifts from you in a while, so I figured you'd stop playing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like the last mobile game I played that did the whole like fucking send your friends shit on Facebook to keep
Yeah.
guilting them into playing this garbage.
Which I just used to send to like, I'd look at those and be like, it'd be funny if they got this notification.
Yes, that's exactly. Yes, that is exactly what I used it for as well. And now that you've said this, I'm probably gonna.
Let's go. The New York event just started.
Great. Okay, I got to get this weed.
Hell yeah.
I've got to get this OG sour diesel.
I knew it.
Khalifa Kush. That KK.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. I think that does it for video games.
Wrap them up.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll save
All right.
that.
It's not a video game.
It's true.
It's a way of life.
That's right.
What's that on the table over there? Bro?
Nothing.
Okay.
And
You
listen
just leave that where it is. Don't turn it over.
He was so excited to run to the studio and bring it in here.
We'll get there. We got more important things to discuss first.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You guys want to move into news now or take another quick break first?
I'm ready.
Whatever you got.
Keep going. All right.
Yeah.
Trying to be conscious of people's bladders. All right, let's move into the news for the week. I think it's safe to say that it's probably been the most fraught week in games in quite some time.
Yeah.
This week.
That was another thing kind of from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Initially only catching kind of little whiffs of it because I really did stay away from the internet for the most part. It was nice. And then I said, I'm getting ready to come back to work. I should probably check out what's going on. I was like, oh God.
Yeah. Yes. I had a kind of brief similar experience because I was flying cross country when the stuff started coming out. So it was sort of bits and pieces as you were changing planes and stuff. But it definitely reached a critical mass quickly enough that it was kind of all anybody could talk about for understandable reasons. I guess we should just go sort of chronologically here. That's kind of the way I've got these news stories arranged. It pretty much all started on Monday night when Jeremy Soule, who is the kind of long-time composer of the Elder Scrolls, and I guess a bunch of other games, which
a lot of other stuff
was not aware of. I've only ever really heard his name attached to stuff like Skyrim. He was accused of rape, and other kind of predatory and sort of retaliatory behavior, first by a female game developer, and then at least one vocalist also came out and sort of started making similar allegations. There's a Kotaku write-up that spoke to those two women, and this is where it gets a little fuzzy for me. It sounds like they've also spoken to some other people a little more quietly behind the scenes that have kind of got other corroborating stories.
Yeah.
So that stuff built very quickly around him. He denied everything, and that was kind of the first thing. And then I guess you would say the floodgates kind of opened after that.
Yeah. It led to people saying like, oh, well, yeah, let's get into my story with this other person that is also a serial abuser.
A large number of people sort of felt empowered to start talking about their own experiences with other people.
Because a lot of that stuff builds,
right.
Like in private conversations and such, and it's just sometimes it just takes one person.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but I think we've heard some pretty, I guess I would say like detailed explanations of how isolating this stuff can be.
Yeah.
Since all this has gone down and how hard it is to talk about until you realize that other people are going through the same stuff.
Yes.
I feel like it's telling that I even subconsciously leaned towards stories involving names you've heard, which I feel like is worth keeping in mind here because I've got like one of the Oculus co-founders here, and then one of the developers of Night in the Woods, or those are like the stories that I gravitated toward. And then at a certain point I realized like, okay, I am subconsciously pulling stories here about people who are well known,
Yeah.
And like it just made me realize, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is there have been a lot more allegations against a lot more people than I have gathered here. And I just, I guess it's worth keeping in mind that a lot of this stuff flies under the radar because they aren't necessarily like big, well-known names, Oculus co-founder Michael Antonov was accused of groping a woman in the middle of a VR demo.
Like a pre-release,
like while she was wearing a headset in a private location, just like almost hard to wrap your head around.
Like on,
it's hard to know what to say. It's just like, what a fucking piece of trash.
Yeah.
Is this the one? I don't want to mix up my stories here, where a second person would eventually name someone, and they're like, I talked to 10 other people that corroborated the story, and we all reported it to HR, and nothing happened.
I think that was a separate incident at Oculus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So like there are just some signs of just maybe a broader culture of that sort of thing inside Oculus. Like one of the Facebook VPs that would address something like this came out and said that they took it very seriously. But I mean, this co-founder has been gone from the company for some time.
Yeah, and this was pre-Facebook Oculus? Or?
I believe that's the case. This was before the Rift came out, so they didn't get acquired till after the Rift was, or did they?
No, that thing launched as a Facebook
product. Okay, I'm actually not sure.
Honestly, the timelines are blurry for me. I'm sorry, I don't know.
And then I guess the other one that's gotten the most attention, of course, is Night in the Woods co-developer / composer Alec Holoka, I think is how you say his last name.
That sounds right to me. I don't know.
A broad number of people from multiple disciplines and who had different types of involvement with him have come out and talked about just a wide range of misconduct and physical and emotional abuse and just a litany of things.
Yeah.
And
this started with something, a little more sexual in nature from
Yeah.
the sounds of things. And then, but yeah, it sounds like as people started saying, hey, wait, me too, and connecting a lot of dots around this guy and his orbit, that, some of it was not sexual in nature. It was, just
a very extensive picture has emerged about that particular situation.
Yes.
And yeah, like I think, a lot of people were feeling very raw all week.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff was hard for a lot of people to come out and talk about as much as it is necessary right up through the end of the week. And then we got to Saturday morning and found out that Alec Holoka had taken his own life.
Yeah.
Which, frankly, I don't know. I think we can all agree just made the entire situation dramatically worse.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's
for everybody involved.
Yes. Definitely. Like already raw nerves, and then that in the middle of it. Yep.
Already tons of people facing just abuse from every angle.
Right. Yeah. Just a lot of garbage being flung these people's way, and then that kind of kicked that stuff into high gear.
Yeah, I mean, there's the predictable opportunistic aspect of just assholes harnessing this for their own further their own agendas
for whatever reason, just nonsense.
But I mean, on top of that, like this, this deprives the people involved of ever really receiving any kind of like atonement or feeling of like catharsis. Like that's just a very final end to the situation that does not necessarily leave people affected by this stuff in a good place.
I believe it was Alex's sister came out and said, "Don't use our grief to fuel your hatred. Don't go blame these people."
Yeah,
this
and
isn't
even she was starting to receive shit after that,
which is like
she
unbelievable.
I mean, she locked her Twitter account very quickly afterwards, which is not ultimately very surprising.
Yeah.
That's.
I don't know what to say. It's a series of terrible situations. On top of each other.
Yeah,
and
it's been gut wrenching watching it as a bystander.
And all I can say,
so I can't imagine what the people involved are feeling.
Scott Benson posted a long thing this morning, kind of detailing his relationship with Holoka.
I have to give him credit for not just the amount, but also the depth in which he's written about this stuff over the past few days. I mean, he has really dug into a lot of nuance in this situation.
And reading what he wrote really struck me. I'm not saying I went through abuse per se, but I know people like that, as he's describing his relationship with Holoka and the manipulative methods and all that stuff. Like I've known people like that. I've known people like that are no longer alive and went out under somewhat different circumstances. But it really resonated with me in a way that's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, some of the parameters in this situation are different in different horrible ways, but some of the same horrible ways that I was adjacent to with someone else. And yeah, it's you read, I read that stuff and was like, I feel like I've been there, like maybe not to that depth, but I've seen some chunk of that, and it feels fucking bad.
I think one of the best points to take away from Scott's post is that nobody ever knows 100% of what's going on, and especially
unless they're involved directly.
But like, even if they're involved directly, because you can only see parts of the aspect. But like the people who don't, like the people who are out there on Twitter harassing anyone about stuff like this, is like you see what that person wants you to see, and it's very small instances of their life. It's slivers of what they put out into the world, and nobody ever really knows the full extent. And it's not until people start talking and
for me, in my situation, it wasn't until the memorial service where everyone came together from all of these different siloed off portions of this person's life and started comparing notes. And then it was like, oh shit.
You just think back to things that
Like,
a person said
yeah.
once and you dismiss as
Or just like no one had the truth. And then you start piecing it together after the fact. It was bizarre. It was a bizarre reckoning at the end of all that to suddenly start piecing together these aspects of this person's life that you had been completely cut off from or sheltered from, whatever, for whatever reason. Whatever. I'm not going to sit here and talk about my own weird experience with something adjacent to it. That's not the point. But I will say, like, reading what Scott put up on Medium, really, like, I read that one, like, yeah, okay, I see exactly how this could happen.
Yeah,
I've seen stuff like this happen, and it makes a lot of sense. It's a terrible situation.
Yeah, across the board.
Yeah,
and you could see it at PAX as well. Just walking around and seeing some of my friends, you could definitely see it. Like it's already a draining situation, but they would just.
It was a weird PAX to miss.
A weird PAX.
Yes, the little bits of communication I had with people who were at PAX.
Yeah,
I was just kind of like, "How's it going?" And everyone was like, "For as much as last year's PAX was weird, for some behind the scenes reasons, this one was times 10.
Yeah.
For some folks, and yeah,
Yeah, and you get no shortage of people trying to nitpick the kind of public nature of the disclosures that have been made about this stuff.
Yeah,
but,
everyone wants to treat everything like a fucking true crime podcast,
Right.
and fucking they're going to be the one to crack it and all this fucking bullshit. Like, let it be.
Well, but I mean, I feel like the main thing to note is that, like, we're in a situation where, like, the people involved here don't have a lot of other recourse at this point, I think.
No.
Because you don't have to go far to find stories of,
Yeah.
institutional solutions failing for
Right.
a lot of this stuff. And
Yeah.
it just seems to be, like, the place that we're at right now, is that some of this is going to be inevitable as positive change hopefully comes about.
You'd like to think.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to know what to say. Like, it's just
the last thing I would say about it is, like, it's easy if you're an outsider to look at this situation, and I think Scott actually addresses this directly, but he said, like, for most people, this started on a Saturday, like, this started on a Monday and ended on a Saturday.
Right.
But for everyone involved, this has been years and years, and the people that are close to the situation are going to carry that with them for the rest of their lives, honestly. Like, it's just to some degree, but, like, it's so easy to just log on to Twitter behind an anonymous profile, say some shit to somebody because for whatever reason you're doing it, and then just forget about it. And, like, it's especially hard sometimes with people who are figures, people who are in video games or movies or whatever, TV, music, public-facing people who you design this image of them in your mind, not knowing the real them.
I like the stuff this person makes. How could they be also responsible for this?
Yeah.
Well,
and then you were able to be like, no, my image of them is right, and then just like
right. It's like, what? This person you don't know at all, your image of them is right.
And then, like
no.
Honestly, you forget about it after a couple months.
Yeah.
Like, there's directors and musicians and stuff that I found out have been creeps, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to stop supporting them to my best of my ability, and then I don't really think about it again. But the people around them, when this shit comes out, are going to live with that. And, like, it's not your right at all to harass them about it.
we live in a world where Roman Polanski still wins Academy Awards decades later, so
yeah,
like, that is where society is at.
That's where society's been at, I guess.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now we're just knowing about it.
It's really just the avenues for these things to come out are much broader than they have been in the past. It is a really rough subject to contemplate. I can't imagine what it is like to live through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we will continue to follow this stuff as it develops, or
I think it was like just barely breaking last week, and we were kind of like,
this
is a little too hot right now.
Just
this
started like hours before the podcast.
Yeah.
And clearly snowballed quite a bit in the last week.
Yeah.
Let's see. In other news, which almost feels trivial to even read other headlines at this point. But Telltale Games is being revived.
Yeah, like, but not by
LCG Entertainment.
Is this like a deep, like a
it is very much a THQ
holding
Nordic
company?
situation.
Yeah,
as
like,
far as I can
hey,
tell.
we bought the name to this thing, so we're going to use it.
Yes,
sure.
Which they seem pretty upfront about. Sounds like
I just wonder what they're necessarily getting there. Like, it feels like the Telltale name is not in a great place.
But it got said a lot.
Yeah.
Like, what they're getting is a brand that people may have heard of.
True.
It's why, like, someone bought the Acclaim name immediately and then started slapping it on, like, some bad free-to-play games of that era. So you would see, like, currency cards in stores that had the Acclaim logo on it. It was just like,
I would buy that just to have that card.
Yeah.
But, like, did that work?
No. Well, in that case, no. But, like, THQ Nordic someday will just drop the Nordic and just become THQ. And to casual followers of games, it will be the same THQ that was always there.
Yeah.
It probably already is to some of those people.
I mean, didn't they even give the logo the same font treatment?
Oh, yeah.
And they've picked up some of the licenses that the old THQ had and all this stuff. And, for some folks, it'll just be business as usual. So the Telltale name, even though most of the times it's been said over the last year or 6 months, whatever it's been, has been in a very negative context of it falling apart, it got said a lot. So when you say the next game from Telltale, you will have people that don't follow this aspect of the business that will still just be like, oh, yeah, I like that. What do they do? The Walking Dead. They did The Walking Dead. I want to let's check that out. Yeah, that's Strong Bad. They made that Strong Bad game.
Don't know what that is.
No. It's worth pointing out that I believe all of their games had been taken down off of storefronts at this point, right? Sounds like part of
I remember them
Walking
getting
Dead
taken
had
off of
come
Steam.
back on maybe on the Epic Store or something, but like there was some aspect.
Oh,
it's
because Skybound came in and rescued.
That's what it was.
Rescued Walking Dead, so there were external business arrangements made there. But it sounds like one of their first priorities is to get some of those games back up for sale.
So did they also get the catalog? And
it sounds like not everything.
Okay.
But some, because a lot of that stuff is licensed, and I'm sure individual.
Yeah,
deals.
that was part of the thing as well. Like, how are these contracts void, or were they voided when Telltale went under? Like,
they have to go back and do new deals to sell Bone again.
Yeah, like do they? Did the Netflix thing ever come out?
I don't.
The Stranger Things?
No, those are the.
No, that wasn't that.
No, they had like some
what were they
interactive.
Yeah,
show.
it wasn't Minecraft, was it?
I thought it
Might
was
have
Minecraft.
been Minecraft.
Yeah, were they adapting their Minecraft thing for Netflix?
So like maybe they're hoping they can still maintain a relationship with Netflix, and I don't know.
Polygon talked to a number of former Telltale staffers about this, and also a number of other people have gotten out on social media, of course, and expressed some of their feelings about this. Like, unsurprisingly, as raw as that situation was when it happened, people have got a pretty wide range of feelings about this other group of investors just swooping in and kind of
I feel like the
picking up the name.
The general sentiment I saw was one of, man, fuck that. For the most part, but also I feel like this has happened so many other times, like with THQ or with these other companies and stuff, that like it's not the first time this has happened. It's maybe the first time it's happened to a company that kind of fell apart so spectacularly.
Yeah, and also it happened very quickly.
Yeah.
Like the THQ properties languished for like years before somebody
right
picked all that stuff up, and this has been like well under a year.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like inherently a bad thing, right? If they're going to hire people from, I think that's what they said about, they want to try and get some of the Telltale people back.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
They've
right?
hired.
Yeah.
They say
it's easy to say that.
That's the thing. Like, it's very much like inherently, I don't think this is awful, but let's see how hard you actually commit to this.
Right. They've hired. It sounds like a small number of former Telltale employees back on under contract. One of whom told Polygon that the contract is fair to to their mind. It seems tentatively okay for some of those people, and I'm sorry, I'm looking for a couple of the quotes here.
Well, some of those folks would have found other work by now.
Oh yeah. Quite a few of them have.
Kind of was in the wind, so you're going to get a handful of people maybe. But
so the new CEO of Telltale, Jamie Ottley, I guess how you say his name, said it's imperative that we take a slow and methodical approach to growth. We want to build a sustainable company with a healthy, non-crunch work culture. We will be hiring 8 to 10 people in the next 6 months, and we'll be somewhere around 30 by the end of our first year. We would love to bring back everyone who wants to come, but that just isn't the economic reality of the games industry, and it would be irresponsible of us to do so.
Because maybe that's exactly what happened to Telltale the first time.
Right. They absolutely stretched themselves
that was
way
the thing,
too thin.
man. Telltale, like you think about that Telltale story, and just whatever. We talked about it then, but just like the rapid expansion of Telltale when they moved out of that building above Snyder. and got to their own office and were suddenly like, oh, we have 4 separate teams we're building now and all this other stuff. Like I remember talking to Job when he was there doing PR and I ran into him on my way to PAX, and he was talking about like how yeah, we're looking for people to lead all these teams and do all this stuff. And it was like, man, it seems like a lot all of a sudden. They got all these properties. Like it was real easy to close those deals on the back of, how successful Walking Dead was and some of the other stuff they had done, but actually executing on it and making it happen and building like a responsible pipeline to turn that stuff out. Just, whatever. All their technical issues, all that we've talked that stuff to death by now.
On top of that, running the company hand to mouth with no plan for when the work fell through.
I was reading through that article, and I think someone said that they think they hired them back because they had experience with the Telltale tool.
Yeah,
which is interesting because I feel like maybe one of the first things you'd want to do is get a new tool, because that became very quickly the thing that hamstrung them.
Well, if it's a matter probably of like, hey, can we need to do some work just to maybe put these games out on additional platforms, like do stuff with the existing
port
catalog.
Them over.
Yeah, port them over, make sure that they're getting supported on whatever updated Windows 10, maybe whatever you got.
Maybe easier to build on your existing tech base than
at least for now. And then you've got at least got some money coming in to then say, okay, we've stemmed some of the bleeding here from just like starting a business. Now let's go invest in new development, and then at that point you're like, all right, fuck these tools.
The gist of the story on Polygon, based on the former Telltale people that they talk to, sounds like they, a fair amount of skepticism, but that they are looking at who has gone back and what they're saying about it, and feel like, okay, maybe we'll give this a benefit of the doubt.
Cool.
They quoted Emily Grace Buck, who was a narrative designer at the original Telltale. She said, I admit that I'm skeptical, but given the enthusiasm of those involved, I'm choosing to be cautiously optimistic about this new company calling itself Telltale. And they've brought the same director of operations back on, who they say was well-liked and not involved in the mismanagement of the company. So,
I mean, it seems like if you're going to do this, they seem to be doing it from an okay place. It's just really wait and see, right?
Yeah. Time will tell, for sure.
No, I got nothing.
Sorry,
I was so
You're
close.
trying to like tail the tail.
Welcome back.
It's good. You need
Dude,
to go get the bad segue jar.
We
we instituted some new processes around here while you were gone.
Great, awesome. I've been sleeping 4 hours a night, so that's my process.
Oh man, we're gonna extract so much money from him.
Hell yeah!
Just one bad segue,
And then make
after
him eat
another.
weird corn dogs.
Finally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember that?
Did you infuse energy drink
Oh, yeah.
into a corn dog
Yeah.
while I was gone?
Multiple ways, yes.
Yes.
What energy drink?
Well,
A leading one.
You had
the
me.
leading one.
Okay,
Two
I'll
of
probably be
them.
into that.
I would like to try that, and I feel like I missed the window.
Don't worry, we got other stuff.
We
planned.
have a lot of ideas, Jeff. A lot of exciting ideas.
but I like corn dogs.
You like chicken sandwiches?
Eh.
What about bear claws?
Yeah. I like a bear. I like a bear claw. Okay, I'll put it this way. I don't dislike a bear claw.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like go out of my way to get one over like an apple fritter
Okay.
or
Okay. What
some
about
other.
malt liquor?
Hey man, you know I like malt liquor.
Oh no, Jim, we're saying it. That means it's real.
Well, I just want to put it out there. I'm
Okay.
just saying.
All right.
Hold ourselves accountable.
Coming soon to a UPF near you.
Do you reckon you can do an English dish one time for me?
You
Do you want to fly out for it?
Sure, I do it often enough.
we thought about pigs in a blanket, in a blanket, in a blanket. So
I'm on. I'm in. I'm in the blanket. I'm on top of the blanket. Where do you need me to be on this blanket? Okay,
Between the third and fourth ones, I
Thank
feel like you're gonna get maximum warmth.
yeah.
Where does a toad in a hole fit into this?
Oh,
equation?
boy.
Oh,
In the hole.
Okay.
I love a good toad in the hole.
What if we
Heard
bake
that.
our own bread and then we put an ostrich egg in the middle?
Okay.
It'd be a really big slice of bread.
God,
It's
now
a giant toad in a hole.
now I'm losing track of which stream and or podcast we've talked about which weird food on.
all
Boy,
of them.
food-ons.
Didn't we?
Fighting food ons.
Didn't we talk about ostrich eggs at some point?
Yep.
Yeah, with
Okay.
Danny.
Okay. Right.
I
Okay.
think.
Okay. So it's pretty much all been on this podcast.
Well, I'm glad it's been something of a blur here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it definitely has.
Well, you've had a string of UK-based guests recently.
Yeah.
That's right.
International
Yeah.
over here.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
come to
Three
think
in
of
a
it.
row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Excited to welcome Paul Hollywood next week.
that's right.
I've never watched The Great British Bake Off.
What?
They just call it the Great Bake Off there. Right?
Yeah. I'm localizing it for you guys.
I thought it was.
I don't know, man.
redundant.
Like I hear it's fine.
It's great. It's not like amazing, but the thing is, maybe you're used to this because you've watched more UK television than us, but like American reality shows are just so mean and nobody likes each other.
Yeah, that's why I watch them.
Which is nice, but it's also nice to like once in a while, just as a palate cleanser, have a show where people are like enthusiastic about each other's work and like build each other up.
Sure. For me, that's Terrace House.
Sure, yeah. This is a very similar vibe.
Okay, I can get that. So I don't want to watch British Bake Off.
That's fine.
For a work event last year, they took us to, it was like, we've recreated the Great British Bake Off 10, and you're going to bake. I don't know how to bake shit. No. So I made a series.
You can't tell a proving drawer from another thing.
Nope. I made a series of burnt stars. That, once you got past the burnt bits, we're okay.
Okay. As long as you don't have a soggy bottom.
Not yet.
Okay, moving on.
I'll talk to you after the show.
We'll just whip through these remaining headlines real quick. CD Projekt Red, in the course of talking about some financials, has basically made it sound like they're going to move to a kind of Witcher Cyberpunk leapfrog kind of model.
Great.
Sounds like they will do a Witcher game after this Cyberpunk game.
So money, then some money, and then some money.
Yes.
It's a bold tactic. I'll hand it to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
Well, whatever. I mean, I didn't finish Witcher 3, but by all accounts, that kind of seemed like an end to the Witcher games to date.
There's always another Witcher.
Well, of course.
Not necessarily.
Of course.
Depends on the ending you go.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there was no chance, but they talk about kind of managing a dual franchise business with some other projects off to the side.
Wow, a company that can have more than one ongoing annual franchise.
I mean, whatever. They're doing it. They're doing a game right now that they have not done before. So.
I like their line in there about like it's a generic throwaway line that you could find in any press conference, but it kind of felt real from them, where it was just like, yeah, we found out that good game.
Yeah,
people buy good video games.
Yes, that line. Now I need to find that.
Oh, I need to write this game.
It's nice when this works out. Yeah, you should take this back.
Yeah. You guys, I came back.
Our financial.
Okay, here's the list. More than one franchise.
Okay.
Good games make money. See what you can do.
Oh, and
I'll try.
Put them on the Switch.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I mean, the confirmation that they probably will go straight back to The Witcher after Cyberpunk is kind of the story.
Yeah, that seems.
Our financial results
smart.
for the first half of the year, again, was mainly affected by sales of The Witcher 3, which remains strong. This further confirms our belief that investing in top quality games pays off.
Like, it's a throwaway line, but
it sounds so self-evident, but
like those are games that you can tell a lot of work went into a lot of
And, well, if you think about The Witcher, I mean, as a franchise, I mean, 3 was really poised to do well out of the gate, but even 3, like word of mouth and time really helped that game.
Yeah.
Like as it reached more and more people, and I think that got them to the point they are now, where people are really looking forward to Cyberpunk. The next time they do a Witcher game, assuming Cyberpunk doesn't just like completely shit the bed and all this other stuff,
like it'll probably be the biggest game of the year at that point, or close to it.
Yes,
Or it's like right up there with an Elder Scrolls.
They've reached a point where like a Witcher, a new release in the Witcher franchise will be like a fucking event, a day and date, fucking mark your calendar type thing.
Totally.
Also, I think Cyberpunk's gonna like do pretty fine.
Did you watch that new
money-wise,
demo?
yeah,
I did. And also, like, that's the game. That's like the number one game my friends who aren't like super keyed into gaming are excited about.
Like friends like Keanu Reeves.
Even before that, like it was just such a stylish. Like the first time they dropped that trailer, it was really just a good way to get people to go like, this is something that looks different and cool.
Yeah.
And then the kind of stuff, of course, helped.
Yeah.
And then I guess like they're saying that the cutscenes in that game are going to be first person now.
Oh.
Which apparently is a big deal. Like people kind of freaked out over this, and I can't.
I don't
see
the.
I mean, maybe like
I guess I'd have to see it all in motion. Like if they do that poorly, then that would be
kind
bad.
of like.
But I don't.
Is the whole thing locked into first person or just the cutscenes?
I can't remember. If
they're kind of saying the cutscenes, but then also like.
I don't think you can play it third person. I don't think it's shown that.
I could see like some people like the Cyberpunk as a genre is very much like open to like body mods and like really design. Like I could see some people getting excited about making a cool ass Cyberpunk fucking Netrunner dude. But yeah,
I guess you know what? Wait, they did show a bunch of cutscenes of like
they showed a lot of the
first
player
year, the V character waking up in her bedroom, and like that was all third person.
Okay,
I forgot about that. Huh.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff they've shown so far is shown the player character in it.
Because I started to say, like, oh, there's plenty of cutscenes where you'll see your character, but apparently not.
Yeah.
It just seems weird to get bent out of shape about this issue when you haven't even played the game. Like, you don't even know what this actually
Let me tell you about the
impacts.
internet.
Yeah, go on. It's great.
All right, let's just take an hour and talk about the new Star Wars trailer. Speaking of getting bent out of shape over something you haven't seen yet.
Hey, so wait a minute. Not to just like sit here and like relitigate the last 6 weeks. I watched that Death Stranding trailer while holding a baby.
Okay.
And
What part didn't you understand?
Man, your commitment to appreciating Kojima's vision is really impressive.
that whole bit with them hooking the baby up to the machine and like literally holding, holding a baby that is like needs to be soothed.
Was that the Del Toro scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watching that bit of that while going through it put the whole thing in a much more it was like obviously already a little surreal, but like then having my own little bridge baby here,
Your own BB.
my own BB.
Yes.
Fuck that.
Wait, does
They
that mean
called the babies BBs?
You can see
Get
BTs
the
now?
fuck out.
What does a BT look
They're
like?
bridge babies, BBs.
I don't care. Dumb.
It made that whole thing seem like 10 times as fucked up. When they're just like, eventually the babies go bad. I don't know. I'm like, no, what? Fuck you.
that-
Get the fuck out of here, you asshole.
You can't touch my baby.
Was that part weirder to you than Jeff Keighley being in that game?
No, that was like inevitable. Like, come on.
Yeah, I guess
don't be
so.
crazy.
Yeah, fine.
Like, what are you talking about?
Did you see all the people like going through Kojima's Twitter and pulling any time he was with? Because like he said,
Anytime he was with a person in
Yes.
a white
Yeah.
room.
Because he said like I have a lot of friends that are gonna be in this game, and so people were like instantly dating mine and trying to like piece together timelines.
Yeah, there was another actor that I can't
It
remember.
was the director of Shaun of the Dead, that guy.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah, he apparently he was
Right.
in Japan and he was like, thanks for scanning me.
Oh shit.
So
Okay.
get ready for that.
I don't know why I thought. I'm not going to tell you who Why did I Google that? I thought I had seen.
Because you want it to be true.
I just typed Kojima Steve Buscemi into Google because I thought maybe that.
God, he would be such a good Kojima bad guy.
Like we said, it's been a blur.
Yeah, that whole thing, man. That whole trailer. I mean, I'm going to play that game,
Yeah.
but like at some point, it just like that whole thing just came off to me as like one of the most masturbatory things I've ever seen.
I'm with you.
Hell yeah! Oh, let Kojima masturbate.
I mean,
yes,
you
no,
know,
like let the man piss.
I would say
and whatever else.
Let him crank it.
Let him do it, but I don't want to watch, you know, and he's
supercut-
making me watch it.
Yeah.
like a
He's
supercut
not
of
making
just about
you.
any of his games could come off that way.
You're right, but I think that. Okay, so I think the reason that I feel this way about Death Stranding is because it does not have the context that Metal Gear had.
Yeah, totally.
You know, because we did that game tapes, we looked at that MGS2 thing,
Yes.
and you think about expectations, and you think about like with the Metal Gear Solid franchise, you start to build and subvert expectations. With Death Stranding, the expectations become more about Kojima than about
Yes.
Solid Snake.
Well, yeah,
This is- he's like, I gotta prove
there
myself.
Yeah, so
but also
it-
there are people out there like predicting pretty strongly that this is highly autobiographical.
Sure.
You know,
Yes.
where the
they
other
all
games
are.
maybe not have been.
Yes.
As much.
Yeah.
All art is autobiographical, man.
Think about it. And so like that's kind of like rubbing me the wrong way a little bit with all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is that it's like it's even more focused on him than even MGS ever was, and that something about that doesn't sit well with me in terms of just like I want to know about the game and play the game and the characters in the game, but instead it's like here's Kojima out on a stage and people losing their mind and Jeff Keighley's in the game and yeah and all, and it's just like it was just a bizarre thing. That whole Gamescom thing was interesting to see because it really felt like Gamescom looking at things and going like E3 was weak this year. We got to get in there. This is our year to get in there.
Let's announce a new Comanche.
They contacted me and offered to cover travel to go out to that event, to that opening night thing.
Huh.
Like that was the.
Have you been to Gamescom when it?
I've never
I've just
been.
been to.
I've-
Oh,
so
you've never
they're-
been at all.
So they're
Okay.
making a push.
Yeah. So like that said to me, like they are trying to make a push to English speaking press and
Pretty good
United
timing
States.
after all that
They
ESA
the-
stuff too, huh?
They, the
Right.
body that organizes Gamescom?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, the email came from Keighley, but
Okay.
but it was all like government paperwork looking like stuff. It was a bizarre,
German flag just stamped on there.
basically.
Yeah.
No,
What is the like governing organization behind Gamescom? Does anybody know?
Matt,
I
as our
I should
UK
probably
representative,
know.
Is there a European equivalent of the ESA?
the USA. Wait.
Characters are welcome.
Is it,
Yes,
is it the USK or whatever? The
USK
ratings
is the
board?
ratings board in
Yeah.
Germany.
Oh, I thought PEGI was the. Oh, is it
PEGI.
it's
you-
national.
German
Is
has
PEGI,
German
is
has
PEGI
a
just,
specific
just,
one.
Just the UK.
No, PEGI is actually all over, but German has
right,
weird.
right, because they've got very stringent.
Yeah, exactly. So
content regulation.
I think USK actually cooler than PEGI. Well, they had a cool office when I went there.
Who's Peggy?
PEGI is the European.
It's the lady that tells you which games you can play.
Oh,
You-
Oh.
wait, you were like because it's like a name.
It's like Peggy
Yeah, I get
18.
it.
Is she cooler than Peggy 12?
Yeah.
She can drink.
Oh man.
Go to jail hanging out with Peggy 12.
Yes. All right.
You guys know Peggy's short for Margaret?
What the fuck?
Get out of here.
Can't be
All
right.
right.
How does that work?
Margaret.
I don't know.
Margaret.
P isn't even in Margaret.
That's what I'm saying. I don't make up names.
Sure you don't, Jan.
How dare you make fun of me?
I'm just gonna take that one at face value and move on. All right, 2 more quick stories, and then you guys can have your 90 seconds.
Well, I gotta pull a Norman Reedus after the news.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, we'll get there.
We're going to get this mushroom
Crossbow?
real big.
Yacht Club announced a bunch of Shovel Knight stuff. There's more
Yeah.
content coming to existing Shovel Knight because they. Yeah.
But
it's-
it's the
kidding
last,
me?
right?
It
It's
is
the
like-
last one.
well, I thought they said that about the last update. I'm not complaining.
No, this is
It's,
cool.
it's an incredible amount of post-release support.
This
It's
was
weird.
the one.
What?
Go ahead.
It's
Which?
Shovel Knight is weird. I was playing Bloodstained, and there's fucking Shovel Knight in it.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Shovel Knight is very popular.
So much so that you just lift the character model and put it in other games.
Yeah. Shovel Knight gets around. He's in like 15 indie games.
Maybe Shovel Knight backed Bloodstained and then at the like create a character tier and then said, what if it was a knight but he had a shovel?
You
I
know,
gotta
if you
go.
put on that armor, you become Shovel Knight.
I know. I took it off. I have nothing against Shovel Knight. It's just bizarre.
This is the
At some
stuff-
point, we crossed some line into too much Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Like
No.
for as much as like there was
More.
that aspect of like every indie game has every other indie game character in it for all these platform fighters and all this stuff, and
Yeah.
like Shovel Knight was in all of them.
And that's
seemingly,
fine. Like
and
that's cool. But it's just Shovel Knight now.
There's a Shovel Knight amiibo. Shovel Knight crossed over in a way that none of these other games did.
I don't get it.
He's not in
This
Smash,
stuff-
is he?
No, he's in Rivals of Aether. This is the stuff that finally. So I only played core Shovel Knight,
Yeah, same.
and now I have no excuse not to go back through and find my fucking 3DS and play. All
It's
this
on
new
everything,
stuff.
9
though.
other Shovel
I
Knight
don't wanna
things that are
buy
not a
it
sequel to
again.
Shovel Knight.
But this looks cool. Like,
Yeah.
there's a card thing. There's like a weird card battler game.
King of Cards.
King of Cards that they're adding.
Did that? So that multiplayer fighting mode is in this. I thought that had come out already.
Yeah. So they're adding the multiplayer fighting. Like it's like the same as that weird asynchronous thing that was already in there, right? But like more fleshed out.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff around character customization, a bunch of other.
Yeah. And then a straight up new game.
Yeah, that's why we're actually talking about this. Is they also announced a brand new game called Shovel Knight Dig.
Is it like SteamWorld Dig but with
that
Shovel
was
Knight?
that was my immediate thought, and watching the trailer.
Or is it like The
Yes.
Dig but Shovel Knight? I will accept either.
Is
It
it like
looks,
Dig
But I will
Dug?
accept nothing else.
Is it like Dig Dug 2?
it looks like a Dig Dug-esque, SteamWorld Dig-esque kind of 2D action game.
Okay.
I
If
just
I,
want.
if I get another SeaMore Dig, I'll accept Shovel
Yeah,
Knight. being
if
there.
we're just entering a world where franchise name Dig becomes a thing,
If I can upgrade that shovel to be a grappling hook,
I
we're in
enjoy,
business.
I enjoy digging.
You probably can.
It just extends and sticks into stuff.
Yeah. Or you could like stick into a wall and then jump off of it. Like, use it
Oh,
as a
multiple
springboard.
shovels? Oh.
Yeah.
Shovels Knight.
Yeah, watch the trailer. It very much seems like that, which kind of exciting.
But it's night with just an N. Shovels Night. An evening of shovels. With your friend, the Shovel Knight.
Presented by
Presented by Shovel Knight.
All right, last story. They announced Yakuza 7.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like kind of a turn-based RPG now.
Yeah. They came out
Or
and
at
said
least
like
the combat is.
they were heavily inspired. Like the director, I think, was out there saying like, yeah, I played a bunch of Dragon Quest and Dragon Quest.
Have you heard of
fucking
this
rules.
Dragon Quest game?
I was like, man, we should do that.
So I'm going to kick this metal slime. Yeah.
Also, the
What?
dude is, oh my
The
God.
hair on this protagonist is just incredible.
This Yakuza dude has one of the greatest drips in video game I've seen. His
don't-
hair, his suits.
Yeah. I don't know what my favorite aspect of the story is. There's the look of the character, which is amazing. The Japanese title is Yakuza 7 Whereabouts of Light and Darkness. And then there's the fact that they put out as an April Fool's video footage of this turn-based combat mode.
Yeah, back on April Fool's.
Yeah.
And then just like, oh, by the way, that's actually what we're making.
So is that the thing the thing that I assumed, I guess I would say, is that this is an optional mode and you can still play it as an action game, or are they just straight up going for it?
It is an RPG
That's
now.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially because like they were really kind of doing some innovative stuff in the brawler genre.
So that I didn't realize that
Yeah.
until this happened, and then people started saying like, "Oh, I'm going to miss that brawling." So I didn't know people liked that combat.
Yeah,
It seemed really
good.
cool.
like the stuff that did with like switching between the styles
heat
and having
moves are
like
fun.
heat moves, all the like item sensitive stuff is neat. But like this has straight up like 8-bit sound effects during the RPG stuff too. Like
Yeah, it's all menu driven.
At some point, that sounds like from the makers of No More Heroes comes. Yeah, just
Yeah.
Like that's just weird.
I appreciate them, like, because, new character makes sense. Maybe, get a new style in there. Like, maybe they were just straight up out of ideas on how to make more brawler shit.
It does sound like largely a clean break from the previous games in terms of story
Yeah.
and setting and everything. So maybe a good time to get in.
Probably some nods here and there.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
but-
yeah. But
Visually, does it look similar to the other
Yeah.
Yakuza games?
very similar art
Oh,
style.
it's gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
The menu looks very, like, Persona-y.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's got like
okay.
button prompts and big fonts and stuff.
Do like those Persona menus.
yeah.
All right, last thing, real fast. You've got a couple minutes, maybe 3.
What is your
Talk
like
about
weird
Dota.
relationship with Dota at this point? Let's get into it. You're so like angry
Alright,
about it.
Just
We
okay.
had good times, Brad.
turn the symbol
you
over.
flip the symbol
Flip
over,
the
and it is
sigil
now
over.
Dota clock.
Truthfully, we meant to talk about the championships the week after TI ended, and it slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
So here you go.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it was. And
Great. All right, thanks.
I
All right,
want
thanks.
this to be clear. Matt came in wanting to talk about Dota, not me. Even though
Well, it's kind of a it's the thing that makes it like super interesting is for the longest time. I mean, this is the 9th TI, and the thing that kept happening was like, is a player ever going to win TI twice?
Yes, that is the story.
And the thing that happened this year was a player won TI twice. There were 5 of them, and it was exactly the same team from last year.
Same team, 2 years consecutive.
Yeah,
That's
so first of all-
unheard
Okay.
of.
First of all, to even have a team
Stick
go
together.
a year
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that alone was like, oh yeah, these guys are really onto something. And then also like OG, the team that won twice last year, there were so many people like because they kind of came out of nowhere. They had their coach step in as their offlaner. They picked up a random pub star for their mid player, and they won. And people like some people were out there being like, "This is a fluke TI." Like they just abused the meta. They're not really a good team like these other teams.
Anna like doesn't play for a year.
Yeah, their position 1, their core player just was like, I'm gonna go take a fucking year-long vacation or like
Yeah.
I was gonna say all of that stuff just sounds like some straight up scrub quotes.txt type shit.
yeah, very much, very much. But and then he came back after some stand-ins were like playing, and they had middling results, and they just made it. They ran a clinic.
Yeah.
There were several points where I was like, maybe they can't beat like LGD or Liquid, but like from the group stage, every match they played, they just looked so fucking dominant.
They went into the winners bracket after the group stages and stayed in a winners bracket and just won. And they've done that both times.
Yeah.
So Thompson, the mid guy that they picked up last year, who was just a good pub player, hasn't lost a game on the TI main stage ever, which is just bizarre.
Or a series.
A series,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Uh,
And they seem like the thing I like about OGs, they seem to have a very good like mental state about themselves, where some of the other teams seem lacking, where they're just like they seem chill and they laugh about it, and they're like
That is a huge part of like it is so many teams, and there's just like bad manners and drama
Yeah.
and a lot of ego,
and that's
like,
the
like,
number one thing that will
I
turn
get
me
a
off
really
about
negative
a team.
vibe from
Yeah.
a lot of Dota teams, and
For some of them.
and these guys.
there was a kind of huge dump of toxic shit people said in
Oh,
pub games, and
okay,
Anna
I missed-
was throwing
I missed-
around the N-word a little
Wow,
Oh, I
bit.
missed this entirely.
Wow,
And by a little bit, I mean maybe more than anyone else on the list.
all right,
This is-
all Dota is terrible.
Yeah, this is what I get for only tuning in at TIs, because I know like Liquid won 1 year, and then
Yeah, and then GH.
GH said some shit.
Esports.
Or was
Yeah,
it Mind Control?
one of them.
It was Mind Control. GH is
Okay.
the good guy that everyone
Okay,
likes.
okay.
Do not want to
No,
slay
sorry.
GH. But like the sheer like they won 2 times in a row. The total combination was something like $21 million between the 2 TIs,
Something like that.
split. Not evenly between the players because coaches and the org and stuff take some. But like there's like an esports Hall of Fame money ranking thing, and it's like the 5 members of OG, and then $1 million gap, and then anyone else, like from across
fatality.
all games. But yeah, like some Counter-Strike player or something, maybe.
Yeah, this year's total was $34 million for the prize pool, which beat out Fortnite's $30 million that they did for their World Cup. So it is like the biggest video game prize pool ever as well. And this got me back into Dota again.
Yeah.
Like in a way that I didn't think was possible.
Was it still possible to buy stuff?
Oh, now you're
Oh,
interested?
the compendium?
Battle
Hell
Pass
yeah.
still up?
No. They shut that down immediately.
No, it's still up.
It is, but you can't buy levels.
Oh, can you not?
Really?
No, like I tried, like the day after TI ended, you can't buy levels
Oh,
anymore.
in the past they gave you at least a couple weeks.
This was like it seemed like a
Oh,
very
man,
hard
that sucks.
cutoff.
Well, I guess I didn't get this year's terrain.
No, I brought up to level 500 so I could get the naked axe.
Yeah.
Earthshaker Arcana.
He just punches
He
people.
just punches guys now. He doesn't have the axe. What does axe do about the axe? Punches you.
I don't know. Does anyone
is
else?
the axe.
Does anyone
Yeah.
else on this at this table have anything to say about Dota 2?
No, I'm all Underlords now. Sorry.
So if I didn't get in there and claim the treasure chests out of the battle pass, do I even get those?
I think the chest will still be
The
there.
chests will be okay.
I mean, come play.
That's what I have. No,
It's a fun game, turns out.
that's what I have to say about
No,
Dota.
the right way to play Dota is open the chests, don't play the game.
It's definitely a big
It's
part
been
of
working
it.
for
It's been
me
working. That's how I played
for a
Dota.
couple of years.
So I'm going to not.
I think we just skipped over the fact
Yeah,
that
I'm going to turn my head over
Jan
this
just
way.
said Dota's a fun game.
Oh, yeah. It's like
Wait,
League,
did you-
but different.
Did you play?
Yeah.
He came in like 2 Fridays ago saying, I forget exactly what you, something like,
I think
I've
it has,
played a
like-
lot of League. Like, who's a good hero to start with in Dota?
And then Ben
How did you
linked-
react to that?
I told him who I started
Okay,
with.
you were good.
I
You-
said,
you
hey, I
didn't,
played a
like,
bunch of games as
poison the
Lich,
well.
and then I
Here,
picked
you-
up Tidehunter,
you passed
and
this
that
to
was a
Jan.
pretty
This
good way to
is
go.
No, I don't want to hold this.
How much did you play?
Don't touch it for too long. It'll soak.
Actually, I will say, like, this is one of the few things that could have actually maybe gotten me back in.
Ben told me about that website where you click into who you mostly play as in League, and then it'll give you an equivalent in Dota. And then I checked out Wind Ranger,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
and yeah,
Very in meta right now.
yeah,
yeah,
that
sure.
and I guess it's just Sniper.
Oh, Sniper's
Yeah.
a good easy.
The names are dumb.
Yeah,
Easy
and
person.
Part of the charm.
No Tusk yet?
no Tusk
Oh,
yet,
Tusk is
because-
fun. How do you feel about throwing out icicles and then punching people in the face and shouting "Walrus punch"?
Well, I feel really embarrassed because I thought it was a panda the whole time.
No, it's
I mean, it seems like it'd be really fun, but in reality, you're just right-clicking on a thing.
Yeah, but that's what I liked about League, too.
Fair enough.
but the thing with Tusk's ult is when you do it, text comes off of the character like a cartoon
right.
pop up
Okay.
That's right.
saying "Walrus punch." It's "Walrus punch," right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've
good.
said it.
It happens in
You get the
Underlords as well. You
Walrus
can just
Punch.
say
Oh, does it?
Underlords
It
and
does,
just do it
yeah.
there.
I've said it many times. Every time Ogre procs multicast,
Oh, yeah.
a bunch of coins fly out, and you hear the sound of a slot machine.
Brad, do you know about the Arcana?
No,
Do you know who won the Arcana
I
vote?
don't think I would need to know who.
Ogre man.
Wow. Okay, that's a good show. Finally.
See,
Put
it's
a third head on Ogre.
Yeah.
also voiced by Nolan
Yeah,
North.
so a third Nolan North voice.
But yeah, look at it. You saw it in his eyes for a bit though. It's still deep down there, buried.
Once a Dota player, always.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If and when I ever buy a new monitor, I'm going to need something to try.
You
out
will
on that
never
thing.
buy a new monitor. We've
Maybe
literally
I'll-
been having that discussion for, I want to say, 3 years.
And when your monitor breaks, I've got that exact monitor and I don't use it anymore.
You know,
don't. You need to set him free.
shout out to Justin Calvert, who approached me recently and said, "Hey, I've got one of those monitors we all bought back at
Yeah.
GameSpot. If you want it, I'm going to get rid of it otherwise." And I was like, "Thank you for the offer, but I still have 2 of them."
That monitor I got, and Jeff, you can speak to this, is like one of the best upgrades I've made to my PC ever.
It's real easy to laugh off all the dumb NVIDIA bullshit
Totally.
as dumb NVIDIA bullshit, but G-Sync's pretty good.
pretty
I'm sure
good.
FreeSync is just as good, honestly.
Yeah, I haven't had
It's
it,
actually
but-
not as good,
Really?
but it's
Okay.
but it's
Well,
good.
but
Better than nothing.
let's just say adaptive sync,
Mm.
very cool. Very cool.
Yes.
So, Jan, you gonna play Dota with us?
You know, maybe.
You gonna let some new player drag your fucking shit down? Your
Oh, yeah.
MMR, all
I
that?
want to
Okay,
have
all
fun.
right, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
do some wild shit.
There's role matchmaking now, which is great.
Mm.
All right.
I've had bad
All
experience.
right. Your time has been expended, and then some.
That's fair.
You guys can talk about it during the break.
Mm.
We're gonna go Norman Reedus, and be right back. A few emails, if you like,
I like emails.
if you please.
Sometimes there's nothing about a large moving mass.
No, I swore it off this week.
Okay.
I decided enough was enough.
Thank God.
After
No.
No.
there's been an escalating creepy crawly theme to the emails for some time.
Specifically, creepy crawlies around restaurants in
Yeah.
the vicinity.
My cat has been one of my cats has been looking at an area of the house a lot at night, and now I'm convinced that there's something on the other side of that wall.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Once somebody
Not
wrote
ghosts.
once somebody wrote in about inadvertently eating roaches, I decided that it was impossible to tell what was real and what was fiction.
That doesn't seem too crazy. I bet you could do that.
And
They'll be selling roach meat in stores before too long.
just decided we should call it.
Actually,
Cricket
maybe,
flowers
maybe
isn't
that's
that
not a
bad.
bad idea. I
Yeah.
should stock up.
Crickets,
So
fine.
I called it. Ryan in LaGrange Park, Illinois. Here is a tweet from Mike Micah saying he would, quote, totally do it when asked about remastering the 3 Burger King games, including Sneak King.
Of course he would.
What do you guys think? Is the world ready for the return of Sneak King in 4K HDR? I have fond memories of playing Pocket Bike Racer over Xbox Live back in the day.
As long as Steve Bann is not getting a cent out of it.
Wait, what would he have to do with it?
He was involved in sneaking.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, right?
Fuck that. Man, like gold farming, whatever. Like that was inherently evil to begin with. Like,
Yeah.
fine.
I hate to break it to
Don't
you.
take-
So was Sneak King.
Man, that's terrible.
That Impossible Whopper. Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lady roll up on us at the grocery store yesterday, pushing Beyond sausages on us, like very forcefully.
The fake sausages have not gotten there. They
No.
can't get the snap right.
She kept saying you have to really cook them well done, and then they get kind of baconish.
Yeah.
But I was just like, who are you, and why are you trying to make us? We're good. I don't know.
I don't know if I want to see the king's face and that
I love that
shiny
king.
king face.
I love that
in
king.
4K. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
The Burger King gamer, I got the gamer pictures on Xbox Live.
yeah.
Those were my favorite set of promoted gamer pictures.
What about that Tom Cruise? Or that Ving Rhames? There's a good Ving Rhames
Those
from
weren't
the
bad.
Mission Impossible movie.
I've actually still got the Will Smith from Men in Black,
Okay.
which was not bad.
Classic.
Are those Burger King games backwards compatible? I guess we would.
They were backwards compatible with the original Xbox.
What?
Those discs worked in both.
But do you know if they work on Xbox One?
No.
That sucks.
Bring it in the Game Pass.
That's right.
Probably,
Game Pass Ultimate.
That's probably the way.
Sneak
If
King.
you were going to do it, that would be it. Then you go to Burger King, you get like a week of Game Pass with like a Whopper.
Yeah.
That's an impossible deal, is what that is.
Done.
DW from Seattle. Nowadays, lots of games require small repetitive tasks to get incrementally better, also known as grinding. I was wondering, what's the past tense of grind when used in this context? Earlier today, I reflectively used grinded instead of ground, and noticed that sounded more correct for the context, though I can't explain why. It wouldn't in any other context. What say you?
I'm 100%
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
I
I
thought it out.
grinded, not I ground.
English
I
is an evolving
ground.
language.
I ground out.
I've said that before. I
Yeah.
ground out a few levels.
Yeah, that's only if you add out does it become
Okay,
a little more
yeah, like I
okay.
ground a few levels just sounds insane.
It's like, what are you
Gross.
talking about? But also, like, I grinded out. I grinded?
I think I'd more like say like, oh, I had to grind out. Yeah. Why is it always out? Like ground or grind? Like why does grind out or ground out always sound better? And why am I
Ground
just
out.
having this realization?
I had a friend back in the day who referred to it as raising.
Oh.
Playing Final Fantasy II, it's like, oh, I had to go around and raise for a while before I could beat that boss.
It sounds more charming like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of into it. You got to raise some levels.
Grundled. I grundled. That's what it is.
Gross. You should bring a change of underwear if you're going to do that.
Well, I mean, I thought this was an accepting workplace, but suddenly Jeff's back and there's rules.
That's right.
About
I
where
don't know what
where
the
I
fuck
can't
you guys
grundle.
got up to while I was gone, but
Yeah.
Can't grundle,
your
can't
link
crank
would
it.
grundle.
Ugh.
You can crank it,
Oh, okay.
Ron from Western Colorado.
just not on Mixer.
Like hell.
Well, they make people fill out the new form that says I will not grind it on the. It's probably number 2 on the thing.
So all those people came out because
Number 1, I will not impersonate Ninja. Number 2, I will not grind it.
Oh, no fun. More
Yeah,
like
right.
put away the headband.
no, never.
More like beam.go to another website. No?
Great.
No.
Hey, are you still in the preview ring for Xbox stuff?
Probably, I don't know.
Oh, you haven't turned on an Xbox?
I did. I've been playing an upcoming Xbox One release.
Right. Have you pulled that new dashboard?
Fucking, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
The responsive one?
No. It doesn't. Yeah, they say they're trying to make it faster. It also doesn't have the tabs at the top anymore for the store.
I do not have that. I no.
Because you know how it's like...
That might be fast ring and I might be in slow ring or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because you know how it's like Mixer Store Community and maybe one other thing? Like they've moved all that to buttons on the front page that you launch separately. They claim it's going to be faster. I really hope so.
Yeah.
I feel like they've been saying that about the Xbox One dashboard since it released.
Yeah.
Ron from Western Colorado.
Hey, I fucking got on Twitter about this a little bit, but I spent a lot of time watching QVC at weird hours.
Oh yeah, I saw the Digital Garage.
And holy shit, man! They were selling Xbox One S's on there, and the guy they had, he was like, I've seen him since selling like AirPods and and all the other deals. The Xbox One was reasonable because it was like official stuff and a copy of Madden or whatever. That was part
it reasonable
of the bundle.
though?
No,
because it sounded like they were basically.
It was reasonable compared to we're going to sell you the latest Apple AirPods and a charging dock that looks like dog shit and little straps that go on the AirPods to wrap around your ear because you're too dumb to wear them. Like it was just like, and 3 months of Tidal. Like it was just the level of fucking GameStop ass bundle bullshit that they were throwing on that stuff was amazing. But the Xbox One, watching people try to sell the Xbox One S to the QVC 2 audience, not even QVC 1.
I'm trying to, oh God, I think I found it. I'm trying to find, okay, here it is. I found footage of it.
So
it's exciting.
The QVC thing, the footage they put up is like a 15-minute segment, but that was an hour.
Oh, is this the same segment or the same people?
Yeah, I think it's chopped up from the same segment.
I mean, it sounded like they were basically reading from the announcement pitch,
practically, because they were selling it as a streaming box. They were like as a cord cutting kind
of
thing.
They're still selling it as a cable box replacement.
You can search for whatever TV show you want and then buy it right here.
Yeah,
and you don't need cable.
That's weird.
And the, like looking at the App Store and all this other stuff, and then it eventually bottomed out into two people talking about going to YouTube and watching Kiss concerts on YouTube, and you could do that on the Xbox.
It's the best console to do it on.
You could get
That's
this. Okay,
probably true.
get this. Yeah. Well, they were describing it as this is the new generation. This is the latest.
The S?
Yeah.
That's not true.
It's not even. I mean, there are fucking new things coming out next motherfucking year. Let alone just the current product family.
Right.
And like between that part of the pitch and they're like, yeah, if you want your kid, your grandkids, you get this. You tell them, hey, you can play the Xbox as long as you want, as long as you come over. Your grandkids are going to love you. And they have a testimonial line. They don't show it for every item. They don't take calls for every item. But man, I was sitting there hoping that number would call up.
That just sounds mean at a certain point. Just lying to these people.
Yeah, like people that in
they
a lot of cases wouldn't know.
Yeah,
and it was really, well, frankly, it called into question everything I see on QVC now, because if they're that misinformed about that, then what do they know about Tefal nonstick pans?
Yep,
probably.
And what the fuck does Tova know about perfume? Apparently,
Tova knows
getting
a lot.
swill.
Yeah, I don't know if I can trust Tova anymore. And that makes me sad.
You can't trust Tova, who can you trust?
Exactly. All right, go on. I'm sorry.
All right. Ron from Western Colorado. This is an appropriate segue into this email. Last episode.
Do I get money out of the thing
you
now?
get to take $1 out.
Awesome.
Last episode, Brad mentioned hearing a GameStop employee, it was actually my assistant manager at Electronics Boutique, claim a third-party controller would brick a Nintendo 64. This reminded me of the launch of Uncharted 4 at my local GameStop, when the employees told everyone that they needed to buy the season pass to get the game's ending.
Oh,
this tactic worked, and literally everyone in line also bought the season pass. What's the weirdest lie you have heard in a retail game store?
Did they say that was at launch?
Yeah.
Who is buying Uncharted 4 at launch and then isn't aware that sounds crazy? Like, if you're on top of it and you want Uncharted 4 on launch day, I would assume you're the type of person to be like, that sounds like some bullshit.
I mean, enough games have done exactly that.
Have they? I can think like one or two.
I can think of
Azura's Wrath.
Azura's Wrath.
Like
Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia on the 360, the kind of rebootish one.
Yeah.
Straight up hid their real ending behind DLC.
Two, and those are old.
It's not unheard of.
Sure.
I don't know.
But also, it seems like whatever. I guess if they're buying physical objects, then maybe they.
Yeah.
I think part of me would be like, why would you buy a season pass from a retail store at all when you just go home and hit the button? But I guess they're buying discs anyway, so
maybe they were just really good salespeople,
Yeah.
Maybe they just really moved the product.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
I don't
really
think
of a lot of other
specifically like going to a store
outside.
and someone like a game in the UK or something, someone being like that? I'm trying to think.
For me, it was like the N64 launch was like someone saying, because they were out of the official controllers and trying to say like, oh, the third party, it's the exact same mold.
Huh.
They use the exact same mold, and being furious overhearing that as I was there to buy controllers because we didn't have enough here for reviewing video games.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that ever happened to me. I think without sounding like a dick, I was always in a position to know better.
Yeah.
And if I heard it, I wouldn't want to step in and be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't want to make a scene.
Yeah.
I get it. Drew from Louisville, Kentucky.
What would you say if you were? Would you like step in and be like, oi,
Oi, bruv.
I'm going to
What are
get
you
the
doing over
bobbies
here?
in here. What's all this then? Like
Yeah.
all that, like that sort of stuff.
We're going to put you in the
Yeah,
slammer.
that's right. The slammer. That's the famous British term for jail.
Yep. I was
Yeah.
trying to think of one, couldn't
Yeah.
come up with it.
All right. Drew from Louisville, Kentucky. Yo, is anyone ever going to make another 007 game?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Jeff is.
So you wrangled the rights. Okay.
Yeah, I
Cool.
Well, no. Please back my Kickstarter,
Can you like pitch me on
and
the
we'll get the rights.
game?
Okay, James Bond is a spy, loves to fuck.
Mhm.
We're focusing on the fucking.
Okay.
We feel that a lot of the games have been
You've
too
looked at the
focused
Steam
on, like-
charts.
yeah, exactly. We feel that a lot of the games have really been too focused on like this watch shoots a laser and other dumb shit like that.
Boo.
And like I got a bulletproof vest. No, this is gonna be just straight up fucking.
Is it? What's like the progression like?
How do I raise?
Yeah.
It's you
Tell me
just-
about the grinding.
The grinding, we're anticipating the grind to be really good, and we're calling our product James Bond 007 : shaken and stirred.
So James Bond 007 :
James
shaken
Bond, sorry,
or stolen?
James Bond : 007 :
Yeah, okay.
shaken and
man,
stirred,
that
and
feels-
and is in all caps.
It feels like a real Leisure Suit Larry caliber subtitle.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah,
Who's going to play James Bond?
Leisure Suit Larry.
Great.
Yeah,
Finally.
voiced by
has acting
but
experience.
voiced by John St. John.
Well, naturally.
Yeah, the voice of Duke Nukem coming out of Leisure Suit Larry's body, but he'll be fucking in a car that's not. It's not going to be an actual Aston Martin, but you'll know.
Oh man, here's another good segue. Shit. Matt from Connecticut. I've made it the weekly habit of listening to the Bombcast while working on my project car most weeks. It's a 1974 AMC Gremlin in medium green.
Nice.
The perfect mix of ugly design and timeless classic design.
Sure.
Truly my dream car. This combined with seeing on Ben's Twitter that Ben is learning to park. My question is if the Bombcast crew has a dream car, like a Thunderbird with T-tops, or a DeLorean, or maybe something more modern like a Porsche or Tesla.
I would say something that I don't have to modify the driver's seat to go far back enough so I fit in it is probably my dream car.
Keep dreaming.
Yeah, I will. Like a town car, I feel like that's
Okay,
what's
yeah,
gonna be.
sure.
You know, something real long.
I really wanted a white Jeep Wrangler, and then I wanted to paint like a brownish arrow in the front because I really liked Avatar: The Last Airbender. Just want to name it Appa.
It's highly specific.
Yeah.
I almost bought a GTR.
Oh.
Well, I was with Ryan when he was buying his car after we sold the company and had like a little bit of money and both needed new cars. I went to the dealership with him and they had a GTR there, and the lady selling him his Camry, I think it was a Camry, was not having it when we asked her questions about the GTR. And it just so happened that I was in a position to where I could have like bought that car, like the one time in my life that I could have been like, fuck you, I'll take this car right now.
Hell yeah.
To prove her wrong. And I almost got roped into it. And I was like, wait, no, that's the fucking dumb. What the fuck is wrong with it?
I'll go home and wait a few years and buy some cool graphics cards instead.
Exactly. One's going to mine Bitcoins, one's not. No, I guess.
I don't know how to drive. The only time I've been in the driving position of a car, I was blindfolded.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you probably did about as good as you would with your eyes open.
I don't know. I didn't crash the car. I think I kept hitting the brake and the go pedal at the same time. And you're not
Yeah.
meant to do that, right?
No.
Because that makes the engines
I'm learning how to drive.
yeah.
You don't.
I mean, that's how I wrecked my first car.
Okay.
Was doing that, and eventually, if your car is powerful enough to overpower the brakes, the tires will just spin, and that's a lot of fun.
Okay, so I was kind of like halfway there.
Yeah.
See, even what you were doing there, I thought it was natural to just put one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake and
Yeah, that's what
alternate
I
between
thought.
them.
No one
I'm like,
told me.
and everyone's shaking their head violently, saying, "No,
that's
Ben, that's not
bad.
what you do."
I tell you, growing up around auto repair, one of the things that they'll look for when the brakes on a car get worn out unnaturally quickly is if the very corner, like the bottom left corner of the brake pedal is worn, because it means someone's resting their foot on the pedal when they're not meaning to brake.
Right.
And that means they're always applying the brakes a little bit,
Yeah.
and that's no good.
Where am I meant to put my foot?
One on the ground,
On the
and the other
clutch.
one has to.
They have a little thing off to the side, a little rubber area, like near where the parking brake might be, that you can just kind of set your foot there.
Dude, cars are fucked.
this seems
It's
crazy.
so much work. I'm trying to learn this shit. It's
Can
not
you
worth
can
it.
you even get a manual transmission at this
Yeah,
point? Still?
the like mid to high end Civics, I think, only come as manuals.
Yes,
now.
I drove a 5-speed Civic back when I drove, which has been almost 10 years, and I think I've forgotten how to drive at this point.
Yeah,
Does that happen?
sure. I mean, well, it's like riding a bike.
This is. I mean, okay. This is gonna. So while we're on subject, this is gonna sound like some total bullshit, but I genuinely think I am okay at driving because of driving video games.
Yep.
And it's not like it's not the same thing. It's not like control. It doesn't control at all similar.
Yeah.
But like being able to just like feel how a turn works. There's some things that you just pick up. So like I really don't think I'm coming in 100% cold, but learning how to drive as an adult where you're cognizant of everything that can go
Yeah.
wrong and the cost of everything is so much more terrifying
And
than
not fucked up all the time.
Right.
Yeah. That's,
God, it's terrifying.
Is there any good reason why they can't just replace the steering wheel with like a gamepad?
I think that's become more and more doable, like the
That's
kind of
Tesla's, right?
drive by wire type stuff, as opposed to it used to be that like all of it was literally connected,
Oh, okay.
and they would have like you'd have power steering that would make it easier for you to turn.
Oh.
But it was still all just like was it rack and pinion? I forget what they call it, but it's like literally all connected to the axle
Okay.
and all that stuff.
Cars are like basically computers now, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just put a 360 pad in there.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
you probably could.
Put a flight stick
Yeah,
in there.
in some cases do something like that.
Oh, a racing wheel. Wait a
Oh,
second.
yeah.
Yeah, now you're talking.
How about a steel battalion controller?
Oh, yeah. Is there an eject button for my car?
Yeah. What is?
I always wanted steering wheels to go in the direction of fucking like Knight Rider or the Spy Hunter arcade
Like
cabinet,
not a wheel.
where it had
it's
the
like-
open
it's
top
like-
like grips, and you turn that.
It should have triggers that don't really do
it
anything.
should. Yeah,
but
like it should make the fucking like keychain machine gun noise when you pull it. Like,
It should look like the weird GameCube thing from the F1 car.
Yeah,
I would learn to drive then.
yeah.
Until then, no. Take that, automobile industry.
Sure.
I'll teach you. I just have to stay one lesson ahead of you.
Yeah.
I have to imagine at this point you cannot get a car without a bunch of weird computer shit in it, right?
I don't know. I imagine that there's
Like-
probably going to be base model cars, and I'm sure you dig deep enough, you're going to find some make and model that is still like manual fucking locks and stuff, right? I don't know. That's not a push button start.
Like you're
all
not
that
having
stuff.
to get your car firmware updated, are you?
Right. No.
Okay, not there yet.
But there's a micro SD card with map data in my car that they want you to go to the dealer to update instead of just downloading it on the internet, which seems real stupid.
Yeah.
But I guess they want to charge you for that shit. So.
What, is there a homebrew scene for OSs in cars?
I think it's actually.
Are you gonna root your car?
So there's a
Fucking love that.
there is a Raspberry Pi based auto OS that there's an open OS that like for people that want that kind of like Android or like the CarPlay,
Like
that
CarPlay?
yeah,
Okay.
but that's just for the entertainment options. It's not necessarily
Put
like
Plex in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, Carplex. I have played episodes of Dragon Ball Z off of a Plex server on my phone while driving my car to come in and record a podcast about Dragon Ball.
The future is beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm glad this is happening.
Yeah, so that the future is now.
All right, a couple more emails. Matt from Minnesota. Recently, I stopped at a convenience store, and in the rotating carousel of heated lunch stuffs, I spotted something new. A waffle folded over chicken strips with mystery sauce, later discovered to be bacon blue cheese dressing.
I'm out.
I'm in. That sounds
I'll
fine.
try it.
I like blue cheese.
Yeah.
Mm.
A quick scan through the laminated price sheet duct taped to the door showed two prices. $2.49 for a waffle taco, $4.99 for a waffle sandwich. Intrigued, I presented my newfound lunch curiosity to the checkout counter, where I was unceremoniously charged $4.99 for a sandwich. I asked if this was indeed a sandwich instead of a taco, and was crudely reassured that if it came from the hot case, it's a sandwich. My question to you, where do you draw the line between a sandwich and a taco?
Oh, God.
Is it the vessel for the whole product, such as tortilla, bread slices, and waffle? Or the method of containment, wrapped, stacked, or folded? Or do the contents define the food category?
Brad, this is a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
This is a
I'm just
question.
looking for a quick,
I think
just a gut reaction.
If the outer layer is one piece wrapped in a U shape,
Okay.
that's a taco.
So like a fold.
What about a Subway sub, though? Because they just take the loaf, they slice it 3/4 of the way in, open it up, put the stuff in, and close it
Well,
By the time I'm picking it up, it's gotten wet enough that that bread is separated into a proper sandwich.
So it
So,
doesn't become a
I
sandwich.
think I'm going to say you need even structural integrity the whole way around, and in that case, the bread slice on the bottom is like very close to ripping apart.
I
know
feel
what I
like
mean?
you're setting yourself up with a series of rules that we could find loopholes for.
Yeah, a hot dog behaves the same way as a Subway sub.
Yeah, what if the bread is stale and hard?
This is how Pluto got excluded from the list of planets. You got to set rules.
I feel unqualified to answer this.
Didn't they
since
put
I
it
don't
back
have tacos.
No.
Oh. I thought they were putting it back in.
Nope.
I thought
I really like the idea they would though. Like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, we changed the rules
Yeah.
again. Pluto's
get
back
in there, Pluto.
Fuck you.
Its,
Pluto's
its
back in.
orbit is not parallel to the ecliptic plane. God damn it!
if you put a piece of bread on the two polar opposite sides of the planet, is that a sandwich?
Sure.
Wow, man.
Is a quesadilla a sandwich?
Were you talking about
It's
an Earth sandwich?
Basically a grilled cheese.
No, it's a pita.
So you can't have a pita sandwich?
If you put two pieces of bread around pita, I guess you could.
Well, hold on. Then what's a panini?
Man, it's a
Bullshit.
great song.
You're right. I shouldn't have asked this question. All right.
Is a flatbread sandwich still a sandwich?
It depends on if it's two pieces or one, right?
Well, like a Vietnamese sandwich is
That's a Vietnamese sandwich.
That's definitely a
its own
sandwich.
thing.
but then like, it's cut almost so they're like similar to a Subway
Is
sandwich.
an open-faced sandwich a sandwich?
That's just a baguette, though, right?
No, that's an unfolded taco.
It's got
No, I
sandwich
mean
in the name.
the Vietnamese sandwiches
Yeah,
are
but
just
an
baguettes.
open face sandwich.
I've thought
Sometimes
about
it's a
this a
different
lot
roll.
a few years ago, guys. There's
Yeah.
no good. There's
back,
no.
back when this was the only conversation you could have on the internet
oh,
instead of
what
just
a
like,
simpler
hey,
time,
man, pretty wild out there these days, huh?
Instead of geez, boy, there sure are a lot of weird,
Boy, it sure
scary
is bad,
people
huh?
out there. It was a nicer. Well, it wasn't even necessarily a nicer time. There were just less.
We just thought that was the eclipse of all conversation at the time.
Yeah.
Like, this was the
Social media was so novel back then. You could have
Yeah.
these kinds of conversations.
You could take pictures of your food and send
Yeah.
it to people, and they wouldn't go, ugh.
no, they did with my photos.
All right, well,
Well, you're from the UK.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of dredging up old arguments,
you're just posting pictures of brown sauce.
Pot
over and over
noodles.
again.
Oh, some Daddy's
Chips.
brown sauce.
Yeah.
I should have bought some Daddy's brown sauce over here.
These aren't even chips. They're fries. Got them.
all right.
I'm your guest.
But you're in my country, damn
Oh,
it.
shit.
This is Steve from Montreal. I was walking down a normally quiet street near my office when I noticed two guys talking up ahead. There was an older man unloading something from his trunk and a younger man with a backpack. I had my headphones in, so I couldn't hear what they were saying. My initial read was that they knew each other and were catching up. As I got closer, I realized that the energy was actually much more hostile. I took one headphone off and heard these guys talking some pretty serious shit. Backpack guy swung his bag around, unzipped a small compartment, and produced brass knuckles. My brain wasn't catching up to the action fast enough, so I just kept walking toward them. As I was passing the older man, he reached into his trunk and pulled out a mother effing machete. I was 4 feet away from this guy. I found muscles in my legs that I didn't know I had and started jetting. As I passed the brass knuckles guy, I saw him throwing some uppercuts at the air and telling the old man to try him. I couldn't help but look back, and when I did, I saw the older man with both hands in the air, machete pointed toward the heavens. Brass knuckles guy said something to the effect of, "You're not worth the trouble," turned around and started heading straight towards me. I was freaked out, so I decided to make a beeline for my office. Brass knuckles guy trailed behind me for 3 blocks, shadow boxing with the brass knuckles on.
We've all been there.
Yeah. I've had some time to reflect on the experience, and this is what I've concluded. 1, machete definitely beats brass knuckles.
Agreed.
2, the machete is the unholy union of the knife and the bat.
Yeah, I mean that's
the perfect middle ground.
That's
Well,
God,
I guess
it
what
is,
about a sword?
it is the perfect organism.
Yeah.
Like a sword. Imagine a sword that had like a really. You ever watch Rurouni Kenshin?
A Kadachi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy knows.
Mhm.
That guy, that character. What was his? No, not Shinosuke. No. He was like the leader of the gang.
Yeah.
He had a cool trench coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced the machete is the be all end all here.
Hmm.
Because I feel like you have to pair it. So knife versus machete. Machete probably wins because it's a bigger knife.
Yeah.
There's a speed factor of swinging a machete versus just getting brass knuckles.
Yeah, it
in
depends.
someone's
It depends.
face.
Like if we're like this distance away and we just start a fight, I think the
Yeah.
knife's gonna win.
But what I'm saying is, like, if the machete doesn't beat the knife or the bat, then it has to beat both of them to be the king of them.
Yeah.
I don't think it does.
Do you think it beats either?
I think bat is a trash answer and always has been.
Fuck you.
Wait, are you on board with the bat?
Fuck yes, I
Yeah,
am.
I've always leaned toward the bat.
It all comes down to personal style. It all comes down to which you think you will handle better. It all comes down to whether or not you have courage. And if you're a courageous, honest person,
No
you are
to
going
any
to
of
choose
those.
the bat because you know that you just. I know so because it all comes down to you're fighting yourself, right?
Yeah.
I can't do shit with a knife.
You don't
I'm gonna
have
go
to.
like
That's
this.
I'm telling you,
I'm
there
just gonna get hit
is a
once and
skill.
go down.
The skill ceiling on the bat is higher than you think because you've got to take range into consideration. You've got to take the speed with which you're swinging the bat, and also
Everyone who says this thinks that they're fucking the Flash with a
Also,
knife. They're like,
you
"Oh,
got-
I'll be in their face before you could."
it's
even
not
see
about.
it,
It's a
motherfucker."
bum rush. Is what it is.
exactly. It is dude
Dude,
from
the-
Final Fight that holds the knife like this and runs at you.
The only bum getting rushed is your bum rushing to the ground when I hit you with that motherfucking bat.
I asked you not to talk about my bum on the air.
Also, there's a
Sorry, does that mean something else, like Fanny, or should I? Fuck.
there's a very real possibility that like if you hit someone with a bat, maybe you get them on the shoulder.
And you break their shoulder and they fall. And
I don't
hit
know,
them
man.
20 more
They are
times.
adrenaline up to the point where they are coming at you with a knife.
It works
there's
the
no
other way.
guarantee.
Tim Heidecker tells a story of how he got stabbed by a dude on PCP and
Yeah.
didn't realize it for like an hour and a half. You're saying the adrenaline thing
But
won't work
the difference
with
end
the
of the bat, you shot your shot. With a knife, you keep going.
Yeah, you've shot your shot, and the other person has closed the
You
gap.
can swing a bat back and forth pretty
But
fast.
but then it's a lot slower.
then you're creating an
and the
arc
power
of destruction
on-
in
But
front
if
of
I
you.
am inside the tight end of that arc, I am stabbing the shit out of you, and you are hitting me with the weak small end of that bat and your
But what if
arms.
you get stabbed and then you just like move your body away and the knife comes out of your
yeah,
hands?
sure, yeah.
And now you don't even have a weapon.
There are certainly things that could happen like that. But also, I think that the likelihood of you landing a completely debilitating shot with a bat, and not just like a glancing blow that maybe shatters a shoulder or whatever, but keeps a person still coming at you. I think that's where the breakdown is.
How are you running with the knife?
I am probably
Dominant hand
Naruto
out.
running. 'cause
Yeah,
I,
I
go
think
faster.
like one hand in front of me, kind of like this, and then the knife, like I'm holding a katana essentially.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
like
so I swing at this arm
Well, I've got this arm doing guard shit. Like,
to get hit.
yeah, I'll sack that arm.
Okay, then
If
I'm
need
going
be.
right
Yeah.
here, right in this area.
I can cover my entire body with this arm.
yeah, this arm is kind of everywhere.
The ultimate
Yeah.
shield.
Yeah.
Like this.
Why
like,
did they
like,
even have
this?
shields?
This forearm's getting broken.
Yeah.
but this arm still has some magic in it as it's sticking you over and over. I'll tell you, I cut a lot of cardboard with a butterfly knife over the last couple of weeks here
Nice.
because I lost my box cutter, and I had a lot of time to use a knife. And I got to tell you, knives are fucked up.
Okay, well, if it's a butterfly knife, I'm maybe on board with that.
Jan, can you break the stalemate here? Or do you want to keep it a mystery?
With the new question posed, I'd go with brass knuckles.
What?
Wow.
Because I used to box. So I know how to throw a punch, amplified with metal on my fists. Break through the machete.
Are you saying you're going to punch the
Yeah!
through the machete?
Yeah.
All right.
Punch
all
the
right, yeah,
machete
yeah,
away,
yeah.
and then the other hand comes in for the finishing blow. Okay.
See, if we're combining y'all's argument with the extra arm acting as a shield, now I'm just using my other fist as a shield.
Yeah,
and
like
then
you just
attack-
stop it, like as it's coming down.
I believe that more
Yeah.
than the bat thing.
And then they get this really shot, and then you punch them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see it. I get it.
Unless it's like Danny Trejo with the machete, and then instant lose. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's his whole thing, right?
That's his whole name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's named after it.
All right, 2 more quick emails. They're about airplanes. Colin from New York. I grew up in Rockaway Beach, right near JFK Airport in Queens. The supersonic Concorde jet you guys talked about last week would fly out of that airport several times a day and break the sound barrier right over our little peninsula. Windows would break, car alarms would go off, dogs would lose their minds. It was definitely an experience. It eventually became enough of a concern that the city sent people to our schools to test our hearing to make sure it wasn't doing any damage.
They should figure that out beforehand. Sorry, go on.
I was quite young and don't recall what the verdict was, but the flights did eventually stop. A bummer for 6-year-old me who thought it was objectively awesome to watch those planes while sitting on the beach. Yeah.
How much quicker was a Concorde than like
Very. I didn't look up the
Was it
flight
like
times after
half the time?
It
or-
was like less, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Significantly less,
God, I would like that.
if I'm not mistaken.
Was it 5 hours from New York to
To-
Heathrow or something?
Probably around 6, I think. But yeah, maybe 5 going back or something like that. But yeah, it's typically around 5, 6, 7 to the East Coast because it's about that for Boston. 9 hours to Seattle and like 10 and a half to LA, San Francisco.
Okay.
I can find out right now.
But I've been getting really good at sleeping on flights these past 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Concorde.
it's a process though. Like noise cancelling headphones. I was like, my headphones seem fine. It's okay. But like airplanes are the perfect use case for them because they're good at cutting out low hums.
Mm-hmm.
So those were a big help. But then just listening to music, and I would always start it with the same album. So I get on a plane, I put a thing, and then
process. Yeah, sure. I had like my iPod Nano or whatever, and it always had the same songs on it, and I was using that for a while. That actually, yeah.
I just don't sleep the day before.
Yeah, my flight's usually so early that it ends up being a bad sleep, but also why I can sleep on a plane as well.
I think with where I'm at right now, I could probably sleep anywhere. I was just about to say, like, well, I could never sleep on a plane, but dude, you could put me on the roof of a moving car, and I'd be like, cool, fuck this.
Everything's cool, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
fine. Okay.
This says the original Concorde could do New York to London in 3.5 hours.
It's pretty good.
Round trip tickets in the 90s were $8,000.
Whoa.
That's not so good.
Yeah. I think there are designs for like ramjets or whatever since then that are even faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, my understanding is the sonic booms were like pissing people off so much that they just couldn't keep doing it.
Just give me high-speed rails.
Yes.
All this airplane.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, I'm with you.
I like a train.
Yes.
Like going to Paris is like a really chill experience.
I would
London.
kill to take a train to E3.
Yeah.
That'd be so good.
Can you not do that?
Train to
Can you not
Paris.
get?
I mean, there are
but
trains, but it's not.
It's gonna take forever.
From
It'll
a
take like a
time-
day and a half.
From
or
a time
something.
standpoint, it's not.
Train's always going to be longer. Like it would be way
Not
quicker
Japan.
to Japan.
That Japan train tech is.
Oh, like if
another
you.
level.
Oh, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
like a train to Japan.
Yeah.
Let me find the last email. Here it is. John from Scotland. Speaking of bad flights, I once flew from Glasgow to the Scottish island of Islay in the middle of a storm. It's less than a 45-minute flight, but was delayed by several hours due to an issue with the plane. The backup plane only sat 20 people and worked by propeller. We sat down. The pilot came on behind us and shut the door. He was the only staff member on board, and his safety briefing was, "Put your seatbelts on. It will be hell of a flight. I'll do my best."
Wow. Okay.
He proceeded to leave the cockpit door open, quote, "in case anyone needed me." Because of the storm, we had to fly low enough that it was more like being on top of a tall building. Once over water, the weather got worse. Because you could see out the cockpit as well, everyone could see how much the plane was swaying side to side and how much the pilot was having to struggle to keep control. At one point, when the island was in view, a gust of wind took us almost completely off course, and I legitimately thought we were going to crash. We only straightened to land approximately 10 to 15 seconds before hitting the ground, approaching the runway sideways. Upon landing, the staff at the airport sprinted out to place large wedges around our plane, presumably so we weren't blown away. At this point, the pilot turned around and said, "Be happy I got you here in one piece," then walked off the plane before anyone else. Lesson being, do not fly to small islands in a storm.
That
Seems
sounds-
like good advice.
Yeah.
Sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Like some bad turbulence can really get me. Like you know that feeling when like it feels like the plane's just dropped like 10 feet.
Yeah.
And I had a particularly bad one when I was going to LA sometime, and it felt like it went like 30 feet or something. It was apparently we had turbulence on that flight for an hour and a half, but that was the first time I had the noise cancelling headphones. I slept through all of it.
Wow.
Yeah, I woke up mid turbulence once, and it was a weird mix of turbulence happening as I was waking up and like some kind of medical emergency happening at the same time, and it was just like a bad thing to wake up to.
Jeez.
Yeah, flights are kind of terrifying.
Yeah. I know they always say that planes don't crash from turbulence, but it's hard to keep that in
feels
mind.
like it sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes. All right. That's it for emails.
All right.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Thanks to everyone who wrote in. Jeff, how does it feel to be back?
Good. Weird. Everything feels really surreal.
I can see it.
You know, yeah, like the like I said, the last 6 weeks feel like, in some ways, it was like maybe a week, and in some cases, it was like 2 years or something. It's just this bizarre time dilation, I guess. Just because, you know, like for, you know, having a newborn at home now, it's like that kid needs to be fed every 2 hours. And there are a lot of diapers to change and all this other stuff. So there's just a lot to do around the clock. And so the days get weird because you don't sleep, and it's 3 a.m, and now I'm on this new schedule here, at least for a little bit here, where I'm waking up at 4 a.m. And yeah, it's all pretty crazy. But all totally worth it. It's pretty awesome. It's yeah, we had a kid. It's awesome. It's I don't know how to describe it without getting into just like the whole pregnancy and all the other stuff that happened. Maybe we'll save that for the after show. Maybe we can talk about some of that stuff.
Sure.
There.
We just adopted a dog, so I feel like I'm right there with you.
Then you totally get it.
Yeah, just same level.
I've been cultivating a sourdough starter, so yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well, shit, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
We nursed our ficus back to health. I mean, right there with you.
Our ficus, we lost our ficus.
Oh, no.
Man.
In the late stages of the pregnancy.
Oof.
Of like focusing on a lot of all of that stuff.
Didn't focus on the ficus.
The ficus did not get the attention it deserved, and I legit feel bad. Let alone the cats that are not getting the same level of attention they're used to. But that ficus, I feel terrible. I feel terrible with the ficus.
Are the cats
Vaya
like,
con Dios ficus.
are the cats like reacting to that? Are they like, hey, what's up? I haven't been pet today.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh wow.
We have a 1-year-old cat. And he's like very much like climbing up on my leg now and looking at me and going, "Hey, we used to hang out a lot."
You changed, man.
Yeah,
You used to be cool.
and
I don't
both
know
cats
you anymore.
The younger cat more than the older one, definitely like getting close to this baby. I'm like, I want to smell this baby.
Yeah. What's up with this?
Yeah, what's up with this thing?
Do I need to protect this baby?
Sniffing around this baby foot. There was definitely like an element of like the cats felt like they were laying down and in an outward facing protective manner that was kind of cool. Like we were all just there, just like, all right, let's keep this baby alive, all right? Because holy shit,
I'm taking a night shift. You guys got this.
Yeah. But also, yeah, I think as they get more comfortable with it, with the whole concept, there's definitely more of a, I'm gonna put my face close to this baby's head, and one of these days, my claws are very sharp, and something bad's gonna happen, and what are you gonna do about it? And I'm like, fuck, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I've made some peace with. It's like eventually my child will be hurt by one of these cats in some way, and I have to keep the cats. I have to do whatever I can to make sure that my wife does not throw the cats into the street.
Give them a fingernail trim.
Yeah, no,
That helps.
Yeah, we've been trimming them down for sure.
Kitten mittens.
Yeah. Yes, the claws grow very quickly. It's murderous. I have the scars to show it, but yeah, it's been awesome. It's a real roller coaster. The whole process from us finding out that my wife was pregnant to the suddenly 2 weeks early turning to you and saying, "I gotta fucking go."
Yeah.
That Friday.
I guess that meeting isn't gonna happen now.
Yeah. It's been a fucking wild time. So yeah, maybe we'll get into some of that in the after show or something. But
well, congratulations.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
congratulations.
Everybody's got questions.
Yeah, I'm
More
an,
like giant bomb after her. No.
I'm an expert in the field.
No.
That's
Okay.
Does that count for the money thing? Is that
That's just
That was a segue.
that you have to go to
Okay.
jail.
okay?
I didn't
All right.
finish the.
There's no fine
Yeah, if you got
that we'll do.
questions about fatherhood or anything else,
Yeah, that's
stay tuned for this after show.
exactly.
Yeah.
Contact the experts.
Yes,
I've been at this for almost like a little over 6 weeks.
Yep. That's right.
So
Everything there is to know
What else is there to know?
I think you
contained,
got it covered at this point.
Yeah.
contained here. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Kind of back to form here to some degree. I guess that means we'll be able to do another one of these next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be back, right?
Yeah, for sure. Why
Cool.
not? I have global entry. Let's just go.
Great. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. See you then. Bye.